Yeah. I know you wanna give up. I know you're hurting cause somebody let you down. Don't use the pain as a weapon. Just keep your head up. Just fight a little harder. You'll go farther when you learn to trust in the Father. Have faith for God's on your side. You gotta believe that it's gonna be alright. Okay. A new day. Yeah. Trials come to make you strong. They will never last for long. Never let your head hang down. Give all your cares to him. You gotta believe that you're gonna win. I said you're gonna win. Just keep the faith and never give up. Just keep your head up. Whoa. Have faith for God's on your side. You gotta believe that it's gonna be alright. Yeah. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yes it is. But trials come to make you strong. They will never last for long. No, it's gonna be alright. Yeah.
Look, you're gonna be alright, little one. Hold tight, get it done. Weapons will form, but nothing will become of them. Made in the image of his greatness. So I take a liking to his likeness. God's amazing. Already equipped for any scattered shower. Dipped in holy water. Cup is overflowing. Holy Spirit down, we keep in order. So when it come against, count it Joan to decline. Only way is up, equals soar. You'll be just fine.
Alright, yeah. It's gonna be okay. Yeah. Just hang on in there. Trials come to make you strong. They won't always last for long. It's gonna be alright, yeah. I said you gotta believe it. You gotta believe it. That joy's gonna come in the morning. You just gotta keep your head to the sky. Keep your head to the sky. All right.
Queen, it's time to play your royal position. This is your girl, Minister Nakita Davis, the proud CEO and founder of Jesus Coffee and Prayer Christian Publishing House, the #1 Christian publishing house in the land. And I am on fire tonight on purpose. I've got some glow getters, some heavy hitters, some movers, shakers, queens that are all over the place doing what God has called them to do. They are walking in their purpose and they are soaring.
Let me tell you this, see, I rock my own money. Keep talking, can't tell me nothing, no.
I went from making $75,000 a year to $75,000 a month. You talk about a girl from the hood, a girl who ain't know nothing about having money in the bank. Literally. How's that happen? It's a God thing. It's a God divine timing thing. It's a divine orchestration with women like this who see greatness in you and are willing to open the doors.
Especially women of faith, and I'm going to say this may hurt just a little bit. We think we can just stay in that little cubicle, that little corner. Oh, I know God, I can pray, I can do all this. We just do that. And we say things, I'm waiting on God. He's sitting back like, girl, can y'all tell them I'm waiting on them? They're not waiting on me. You're not waiting on me. It's already done.
Hello everyone, it's your girl Coco from SWV, and you're watching Girl on Fire, hosted by Jesus, Coffee, and Prayer. Now, my definition of a girl on fire is myself. I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, a sister, a friend, entrepreneur. I'm fabulous, but most of all, I'm a king's kid. Much love and God bless.
This is Girl on Fire. And it is all about you. I have got you the best in the business, in what they do, in their skill set, in their craft, and how they are designed to make an impact in the earth. So don't worry, we're going to be able to ask them those questions. You know, if you could be in a room with a bunch of millionaires, this is what it looks like. Guess what? They look just like you. No matter where you are in the earth, in the land. I know you're all over the US, and some queens may be watching this internationally, but they are women and they stand with you. This movement really was birthed from this place of, guess what? 2020 has been crazy. Am I right or am I right? And so we want you to be encouraged in this season. We want to give you tangible tips, techniques, strategies, all that you need so that you can soar in 2021. We want you to be a girl on fire too. So I want to quickly introduce these beauty queens, and then we're going to hop right into it. Is that fair? Will that work for you? Okay, fantastic. And so I'm bringing it up because I want to make sure that I have it completely right, because they are fabulous. Can we agree with that? So we're going to start off with Dr. Cheryl Wood. She is the CEO of VOCALIZE Women Speakers Academy, an international empowerment speaker, and a not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, but a 12-time best-selling author and master speaker development coach who equips entrepreneurs with the tools to unleash the power of their voice and transform other people's lives with their very own story. Dr. Wood has trained country leaders from all over the globe. So the US, come on now, South Africa, India, France, the UK, Canada, the Bahamas, and several other places I'm sure she didn't even mention, right? So she's been able to help them to unleash their fears, step out of their comfort zone, take calculated risks, and pursue their big dreams. She's been featured on ABC, Radio 1, Forbes magazine, Huffington Post, Essence, Black Enterprise, Rolling Out, Sheen Magazine, Good Morning Washington, Fox 5 News, Fox 45 News, The Washington Informer, The Baltimore Times, Afro-American newspaper, and has delivered riveting keynote presentations for organizations that include NASA, the United Nations, the FBI, now watch out for that, the FBI, Verizon, and the United States Department of Defense. She has recently added TEDx speaker, come on y'all, to her portfolio. She is definitely your go-to girl, a high-earning 6-7 figure entrepreneur. I bring to you Dr. Cheryl Wood. Come on off the mic, queen, so we can hear from you. Tell them just a little bit more about you and what you do.
You know what? I love that. Thank you so much for having me. And, you know, the bio is so sexy. It's so sexy right now. But what I need the queens to know is it did not start there. That was not my beginning. I came from very humble beginnings. And in fact, worked for a corporation for 15 years, sitting in a 10-by-10 cubicle as a legal secretary. I did what I knew how to do until I was willing to disrupt my norm and do something new and allow myself permission to try it, to fail, to get back up, to try it again until I figured it out. So I can't wait to have this conversation with other queens to let them know it's okay to get started right where you are. It's okay to know that you are equipped just as you are, and that you don't have to look like, walk like, talk like anybody else to be a giant in this world. God created you to be brilliant and to walk in your unique lane of brilliance, and he ain't make no mistakes. So we're gonna have this open dialogue today to talk about unleashing the power of your voice and your story. What I know from firsthand experience is your life and your story is about you, but it ain't for you.
Come on, queen. Yes, yes, yes. See, you get her. See, y'all didn't know she'll start preaching on you because I've heard her, you know. So, but we not even going to do that today. Maybe. You never know how the Holy Spirit will lead you. So next, I want to definitely make sure that we introduce Our next queen, Shonda Scott. Shonda Scott is a four-generation entrepreneur and an award-winning CEO and founder of 360 Total Concept, a solutions-driven management consulting firm specializing in public relations, equity and inclusion, monitoring compliance, and facilities management. Shonda's team at 360 has worked with giants such as BET, Uber, Kaiser Permanente, major airports, and stadiums. Shonda was inducted into the Alameda County's Women Hall of Fame in 2018. In 2012, Shonda was appointed to President Barack Obama's Platform Committee. Okay, she is co-host with her brother Kente Scott, a hot podcast called What Sibling Rivalry Podcast, airing in over 20 countries. Shonda is a diehard UCLA Bruin, that is her alma mater, and is the mother of a successful entrepreneur, real estate agent, and her son, his name is Austin Carrington Scott. Hello, Queen. Come on off of the mic and let them know just a little bit more about you.
Oh, I'm still on mute. Hello, beautiful. How are you doing? I'm happy to be here amongst all these amazing women, queens, as you call them. We're sitting with royalty. Just, you summed up everything. You summed up my entire life, my gosh, in a quick second. Okay, but what we are solution driven, and I'm always talking about we and not about me. So oftentimes people say, who's the we? But I feel like we are better collectively, and the work that we do and the work that I do in particular is focused on we and what we can do, not only for our time now, but even for the next generation. And that's important to me. And I feel like I was a single mom. I raised my son to be an adult male man, and he's now the 5th generation in our family entrepreneur. But like Dr. Cheryl was saying, it wasn't easy. Even though my parents had a very successful business, they gained a lot and they lost a lot, because being Black in America, you're always gonna have some challenges and struggles. But we are here to change that paradigm. And that's what all of us coming together collectively is about. And that's what my mission on this planet is for us right now. And our anointing is to be collectively together so that we're stronger and we can be examples of how Black women can come together and be powerful for our younger generations to know that's the expectation for them. And that's what I'm all about. And that's what my story does entail in that bio, that even the business that I do is about equity and inclusion and making sure that historically underserved people have a seat at the table. And in fact, I always say, we're building our own table and inviting people to have a seat there. So I'm pleased to have a seat at this table amongst you beautiful women. Thank you. And I look forward to the conversation.
Yes, Queen, I love it. We have the authority, the power. God has equipped us. We can change our own narrative. That's the beautiful part. He is the author and the perfecter of our faith and all of that, but he is so generous to give us the pen and the paper. Now, if he need to edit, don't you worry. He'll go in there and edit that thing, but he gives us the authority to be able to do that so we can change the trajectory. So I love that. And then last but never ever least, this beauty queen, Georgia, in the house. We've got my queen, Dr. Sonja Stribling. She is a retired U.S. Army major and combat veteran, recipient of Barack Obama Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, and former TV host on Bravo Network, and has been featured on countless publications, but some of them include NBC, Fox, TV One, The Word Network. Now she uses this training and all of this experience to lead thousands of women to their victory in dominating in their space, and to use their inner power to ascend their next level in business. As the chairwoman of the Born to Be Powerful Academy, home of her signature programs, Women Speak and Grow Rich, come on, mastery course, helping women to share their message and kitchen table, CEO Dr. Sonja firms, courses, her events, and results-based coaching programs help and equip emerging and established women influencers, entrepreneurs, and game changers to use their life experience and knowledge to build their coaching and speaking empire. So it sounds like you need to get connected. Sharing her trade secrets to how she turned her pain into power by shifting her mindset to having a purposeful and fulfilled life. She also shares how she generated $250,000, okay, $250,000 in just one day, and grew her business to $1 million in 12 months. She also shares shares her company, how her company consistently generates $100,000 a month, y'all. Come on, hello, who would like to make 100,000? I'm sure one of these queens will show you. Dr. Sonya, come on off, queen, and let them know just a little bit more. I mean, the
Thank
bio is
you.
impressive, but let them know.
All I will say, I didn't wake up like this, so that sounds all great. I appreciate that. And first, I got to say, first and foremost, Nakita, thank you so much for allowing me to grace the stage with such amazing women. This is amazing. I remember when you talked about it, I was like, okay, I'm kind of busy, but I'm grateful that I heard that voice say, no, you're not that busy. We got to sit and have this much needed conversation. So thank you for having me. And for all the queens, I'm working on that queens royalty that's here. Thank you all for being here and just taking the time to listen, because this is the conversation we as women of faith need to have, and it's time. Who wants to sit around and wait for another year for things to happen? And as we can see right now, for all of us, tomorrow's not promised. And while we're here, we have some work to do, not tomorrow, but right now. And the biggest thing I will say to all the ladies that are listening, that we have to not just be wives to our husband and mothers to our children, but it's time for us to be someone to ourselves. And we have put ourselves on the back burner for way too long. And so we have this conversation because it is needed. This conversation is really time to lean in and really say, and I got to say this part, and I know we're going to have conversations about everything. We've all been successful in our own rights, but this is the one thing, if nothing else you take away, it is time. If you did not come from a wealthy family, let a wealthy family come from you. And we're going to dive into that, I'm sure, when we have this conversation.
Come on, queen. Yes. Yeah. Look, I love it. I told another set of queens, I'm very much into, first of all, people don't know, I used to be a poet. You know, I remember back, I think it was like 6th grade, 7th grade, every time we had the poetry section from my English teacher. Yes, honey, I went there. And she knew, she would be like, Nakita, you have, I make voices for everybody. I'll probably have voices for all of you by next week. But she was like, Nakita, you have something for us? And I was just, yes, ma'am, because I've never been shy. And I had poetry and I would recite it to the class. So yes, so this right here, Stomping Grounds. Also, Love Jones is like one of my favorite movies. So, you know, and nobody can't tell me I ain't Nia. Nia, if you're watching this, come see, reach out to a queen. And my husband is Lorenz Tate. So anyway, it was more than we even came here to talk about today. So glad that you're here. So glad you are all beautiful, intelligent. And when I say that I'm grateful, I am grateful. Anybody who knows me personally, you know, I look at people as people. Even when I worked for, you know, a Fortune Top 9 company for almost 15 years, the CEO, my thing is, guess what? I treated the CEO just like I did the janitor. And that's not a disrespectful thing. That's from a place of humbleness and humility. We are all people. We all bleed. You cut any of us, we bleed the same, baby. It won't be girl on fire, be girl bleed. And we don't want that, right? But I love that we can come together no matter what walk of life or what your background is or what your sphere of genius zone is. We can come together to have this conversation. So let's go ahead and have it, shall we? All right. So just kicking it off, queens, I really want to just kind of talk high level, and we'll have an opportunity to niche it down to your specific fields and what you do. But on a high level, queens right now are struggling, right? 2020 took place. Pandemic, you know, so many things. We changed presidents, right? Whether you're for that or against that, right? But we got that piece, right? We had the pandemic. We lost some greats. We lost Wakanda forever. You know, I mean, so I'm just speaking on those things. So many traumatic, Kobe, you know, that whole situation. There were many other things that took place. People feel like they need help, but they don't know where to start. So whereas they may have had a dream to write, they may have had a dream to step on stage, they may have had a dream to get into PR, to host their own shows and do all of these things, but now they feel like it's put back to that back burner. So talk to me about, how do they stay focused in this season, or better yet, how do they rekindle what God put on the inside of them so they can unleash it and be successful in 2021? So I'll kind of go round robin with that. I'll start with you, Dr. Cheryl Wood. Again, 2 parts to that. How do they go ahead and map that out? How do they bring it back so that they can soar? And then maybe share from yourself, how did you make that pivot to continue to soar, or how do you continue to soar in 2021?
You know, my response to that is that it's always about making my life bigger than me. That's really what it boils down to. That number one, I have children in my own household, because scripture says your ministry, that's your first ministry is your household. So I have 3 teenagers who are looking at me to determine what they're going to do, because your kids don't do what you say, they do what you do. So if I'm slacking and I'm playing in a space of mediocrity and I'm allowing what's happening on the outside to dictate what's happening in my life, in my world, then my kids are going to do the same thing. So for me, I have a huge responsibility for being a role model to 3 young people right here in my own household. Outside of that, there's a community in my zip code and then beyond that globally who are looking at me to see, what is Dr. Cheryl going to do? What is she going to do? Is she going to fold under the pressure, or is she going to keep pressing forward? Is she going to pivot? Is she going to find a way to make it work? And for me, it just hits home for us to really maximize who we are and who we're born to be, because your tomorrow really isn't promised. None of us can afford to wait until tomorrow to start creating legacy. Like, I want to know that my fingerprint matters in this world, so that when I do take my last breath, I know that I have passed the torch. Legacy is something you pass down. What are you passing down today? You cannot afford to make the assumption that you're going to get tomorrow to create legacy. I'll drive it home a little bit deeper. Less than 3 months ago, my twin sister and I buried my 20-year-old nephew. He passed away on August 22nd of this year from an unexpected motorcycle accident. He was 20 years old, 20. I had to watch my sister bury her baby boy. Did we think that was gonna happen? Did we expect to get that phone call in the middle of the night? No, but the reality is you are not promised tomorrow. Thankfully, Jordan left legacy in 20 short years. You should have seen the kids who came from all over to talk about how he impacted them, how he touched them with his unique gift. Every single one of us have been given a unique gift, the thing that God gave us to impact other people's lives. The only question is, what are you doing with it? So for me, it's always about making my life bigger than me. What am I passing down? Who am I inspiring? Who am I motivating? And what's the legacy that I'm going to leave behind, that it's going to long outlive my physical body? And when I focus on that, I don't have time to whine, to moan, to groan, to complain about what's not going right in the world economy. I got to focus on what's going right in my life and the legacy I'm creating. So I share that to the queens. Focus on what you can do. Stop focusing so much energy on what's not going right, what's not happening, and what you're lacking, and instead focus on what you possess. What is God giving you that is your lane of brilliance, that can't nobody do what you do like you do it? Find that thing and get started, and you'll learn along the way.
So good, Queen. I love that. First of all, condolences to your nephew. I don't even want to, go deep with that, because you about had a tear. I was like, man, now look, now I done put these lashes on. I'm not fooling with her today. But I understand that's so good, because I feel like people think there's tomorrow. Like, you hope. I hope. I say it all the time, honey, 99 just won't do, Lord. With long life, you will satisfy me. And I mean that from a real place. My mother passed away when she was 44, and my biological father passed away when he was like 33. So for me, that's a real thing, that I'm going to make it. Like, I'm not going to be under 50 passing away. I've got too much to do. There's too much work to do, not just in my home, but to the masses. So that's so important. It's not promised. And when you realize that, you can level up and put that other foolishness, because that's really what it is, to the side. What's your take on that, Shonda? Tell us, Queen.
Well, I just feel everyone asks us about the pandemic and how are we dealing with it. I'm like, as a Black woman in America, really? Like, this isn't the first time we've had to deal with something. I mean, we have been having to deal with something from the moment we walked this earth.
So y'all just now dealing with something. Okay, anyway.
Now the world is dealing with it. And because of the George Floyd incident, now the world sees some of what we deal with, that we can't believe that they didn't know we were dealing with that, and made them more impressed with our path. Like, you all are dealing with that and you still can do this? Yes, because of in mine is all about faith. So I've been calling the pandemic, the COVID, a cocoon. And this is like the time for you to either decide if you're going to be a butterfly or a moth. So that's about your decision on what you want to come out of. This moment does not have to be the most devastating moment of your life. This moment could be the most amazing moment of your life. Many people have had to pivot and change their business. We had to do that. We had done work remote last year this time as a pilot, not knowing that that was what we were going to have to rely on coming into 2020, we were using Zoom because we work with Uber, and they use Zoom because they have people all around the world. We used it since 2016. We never thought we would be producing TV content through Zoom, because now we were on a pandemic and things must continue to go on. I mean, we're even producing our What Sibling Rivalry podcast through Zoom, but we had to pivot. But my whole point, and tell my young people that work with me and that I'm around, and even the older ones, like, this is our moment to evolve. Like, God didn't just set this moment for it to be destructive. He took this moment for a lot of change to happen. Like, a lot of bad has happened, but some good has happened that's blown our minds just as equally and beyond. Right, we elected a new president. We've made history in that election as well with the vice president. We've done so much in this short period of time that people can't even imagine that they would have been doing. Like, this time last year, I didn't know you all beautiful women and what you're doing on your platform. How can we be in all these different cities and still come together for a show? I mean, that wasn't happening this time last year. People weren't able to continue working from home and remote and take care of their families and still earn a living using these platforms this time last year. I mean, they wanted everybody together. So much has come out of it. So I'm saying, as a creative, use this moment for your cocoon, and you decide if you're going to come out a butterfly or a moth. It is all about what you decide. And for me, I line up with God. Whenever there's anything happening, me, God, and the Holy Spirit, I'll start fasting and praying, whatever I need to do to get through it. That's if it's a big, high-profile meeting. That's if it's solving issues in our community. That's even if I'm advising people at the highest level in our country. I'm always aligning with my Holy Spirit and God, and that's really my foundation, even with our business growing. I mean, there's been opportunities for us to work on projects that I never had in my plan, and God just manifested it for us. So I'm a strong believer in faith, and I'm just telling everybody to take this moment and this COVID cocoon and decide if you're going to come out a butterfly or a moth. And that's all about what you decide you're going to do in this moment.
I love that. Now, is that trademark? Okay, I mean, you're saying because it's recording, is it trademark? Okay. So I'm sorry. I'm as a publisher, I am smitten with words, and my husband tells me, I'm just saying this super quick. We have a 13-year-old and a 3-year-old. 13-year-old daughter, 3-year-old son. It is cray cray. Do you see that? It's quiet. I don't know what he's doing to them. I really don't care. They're quiet. So I'm happy about that. And he says, when I'm asking him things and I'm using words, he said, wait a minute, don't word party me. Because my son watches, there used to be a show called Word Party where they're trying to teach him alphabet and all that other stuff. He says, wait a minute, don't word party me. I'm like, I'm not trying to word party you. So anyway, I love that, but I love that, Queen. It's so good. It's about what you make it. And of course, Dr. Sonja, let's get your take on this as well. This woman that's like, I want to move forward. She's scared, right, in this season. And I'm not, let me do say this, for whoever, excuse me, is watching this, you being scared, that's a human reaction. It's crazy. We ain't never seen this before, unless you were here with the Spanish flu in the 20s, which I doubt it if you're watching this. You haven't dealt with this to this magnitude of a pandemic, right? So it is nerve-wracking at the least. But what we're saying is, if you're scared, what do you do with that? What do you do with that fear? We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I got something going on in my mind. So Dr. Sonja, tell us your take, Queen.
Well, I would say what COVID did, honestly, and I totally agree with both of the ladies and what they shared, but I also add in that COVID exposed a lot of things that were already happening, but it brought it to the surface where we were like, oh, this is really happening. And, you know, Shonda hit the nail on the head. As Black women, we have been carrying the weight of the world on our backs. We've been through so much. And now it's like, oh, okay, we got something else that we have to deal with. Let me make sure my baby's good. Let me make sure my family is good. But I would say the biggest thing I would say to the ladies, we're all in the same ocean, but we're not in the same boat. We are not in the same boat because, like everyone else, I was traveling, speaking. I know Cheryl understands this even more so. We're traveling, we're out there, we're in this place, we're in this airport, we're traveling. And I had to make the pivot, and I made it quick. And I said, I'll never forget, it seemed like it was forever, but it was like 2 minutes. So Lord, I don't know what you're doing. But whatever I need to do to understand that is going on, just expose it to me. Show me what I'm supposed to do. And when I tell you business just tripled, like literally overnight, I'm like, okay, what is going on? This is something I was supposed, you know how you know you're supposed to do something, but I'm too busy. Like the ladies and queens that are watching, I'm too busy. I'm going to wait till next time. And I'm grateful that I heard his voice and no, I need you to stop. I need you to hear. Didn't know what was about to happen, but I was putting some things in place. And so when the pandemic hit, it kind of put a halt on some things, and I just took off with the other thing. But what I know for the women that are in fear and they want to do things, we have got to understand this. First off, God is not bipolar or schizophrenic with these ideas. And well, he told me to do this. No, that's not who he is. The biggest thing he has already told you, you have a gift. What are you going to do with it? You should be doing something. You should be serving other people. But a lot of times we sit back and we have questions, and I will say this as a Black woman from Arkansas. I live in Georgia, but I wasn't born here. I just retired here from the military. I'm from Arkansas. I've never seen this type of life or lifestyle, but I've never seen God do so much work on people. So he exposed the nation, he exposed our country, he exposed people, but he exposed some women like never before. And that exposure is not always bad. It just brings things to the forefront. And so for a Black woman, it is time for us to sit back and stop watching everybody else half as talented as we are. Do some things we're like, I was supposed to do that. Girl, yes, you were. I was supposed to do that. Remember, Cheryl, you and I grew up together. Girl, we were supposed to do this, and neither one of us moved. And what I would share to every woman that is listening, it is time for us to really step outside this box and start doing what you've been called to do. I know even in this was not my intention to do this. I didn't think one day I would be on Bravo or doing these things. I just wanted to retire from the military and just chill. I'm doing the thing that I love. It's created a lifestyle that honestly, and I know some of you are married, I sit back sometimes. I was married for 18 years. And I take a step back. I literally had to deal with the way I thought about life. Everything that I thought about money, everything I thought about marriage, everything I thought about everything has shifted because God really showed me a different world where my mom taught me you got to have a husband to do some things. Well, I didn't have one anymore. So do I just wait? And I was going to put it off. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So Lord, just show me, put people in my pathway so I can do what I've been called to do. And as I close with this part, Dr. Miles Monroe said, you know, there's the wealthiest place in the world are graveyards. And there's so many of us that are going to go that have or will go to our grave with all of this on the inside. And I just vowed back in, honestly, 2013, I am not leaving this earth full. Whatever it is that I've been called to do. And I'm saying this to every woman, you have to make that vow. You got to be decisive and committed. You have to really get in places around this group right here. Oh, I feel like, oh my gosh, let me just absorb from all these women because we're still learning. I never want to be a place where I know everything. And I'll say that to all of you. It's time. Get in a place, get in environments like this with other women that are going to stretch you. Be in a place where you can get the coaches that you need. And that's not something our environment talked about. And I know we'll get into that. That's not something where it's not at the kitchen table we didn't talk about. We talked about take care of yourself, make sure you do this. They never said go get the help that you need to be successful in the life that you want and you deserve.
So good, Queen. You, all of you all, everything that you said, I hear the same thing, the same theme kind of being golden, weaving the golden thread, if you will. Like, first of all, if you're picking up these clues, just did a series called Success Leaves Clues, but this is still some clues and you need to be picking them up, and it's for real. Stop waiting. Tomorrow is not promised. If God has put it on the inside of you, it's not a question of if, you must birth it, period, with a T on the end. You must birth the thing that God has called you to do, because my word lets me know that blood will be on your hands. You know, when people think about blood on your hands, oh, well, I ain't killed nobody. No, but you killed somebody else's dream. You stopped another queen or another king, whoever your niche market is, right? You can get into your whole target audience, but whoever you were designed to impact, you stop them. There are people that cannot be free until you say yes. There are people who can't glow up the way God wants them to glow up until you walk in the room. They on pause, waiting on you. They don't know you. You don't know them. But until you make a move, they can't truly walk in their divine assignment. So it's not just you. Matter of fact, it's selfish for you to say, oh, well, that's just me. I just missed the boat. No, you missed the boat, and a whole bunch of other people missed the boat when you didn't move the way God told you to move. So I love that. So weave that. I also heard faith. Y'all know I am an ordained minister. So yes, faith is going to be at the crux of what I do. Period. I don't care. I know business, financial gurus, they'll, might have you looking at your funds and this and that. I'll be honest with you. If it's something God has called me to do, I don't need to check my bank account. His dreams, his vision for my life is bigger. I don't care if it was $1 billion in my bank account. His vision for my life is bigger than what's in my bank account. If he's told me to do it, then I just throw it back on him. You threw the assignment on me, Daddy. Okay, well, I know you're gonna provide. So who I need to holler at? Who I need to see? Just like that. If you'll see me, I'm over here like, who I need to see? Oh, okay, because they're gonna give me some money. Cool. And then we're gonna move forward. And so I'm joking, but I'm so serious. Anybody who really knows me, I'm so serious about that. So I hope you're encouraged. We just touched the top. So we can go ahead and close it down. Now go be free. Go soar. Be powerful. Be all of that. Be a butterfly. Your voice. Boom. No. So perfect. So let's talk about that shift, because I know where the women really want to go. I'm gonna just, ladies who are watching this, don't worry, I got your back. I'm gonna ask the questions you want to ask. You want to get to the money, don't you? You want to get to the money. I see you. So let's get to the money, right? They want to get to the racks. I know. That's all I want to know. You know, I used to, some people don't know this. I'm going to say it super quick. Some people don't know, back in the day, I say black in the day, I used to be a fitness trainer. Like, seriously, I had my own studio, honey. It was called Fantasy Fitness. We make your we make your fitness dreams come true, baby. Yes, I had them in there. Come on, lift it up. And so doing all of that, right? People will come to me and, oh, I want to lose weight, but really I just want to lose my stomach, is what they would say. Okay, my lady, well, I know you do all that, but I just want to lose my stomach. But they don't realize that it's a whole process. You can't just lose your stomach unless you want to go get a tummy tuck. You've got to work the whole body. And so I want to bring that back to you all in the business. They want to get to the money. I just want $1 million in my bank account, but they don't want to do the other stuff, the unsexy stuff, kind of like Dr. Cheryl was talking about earlier. So let's talk about that. What does that look like to get to whatever that dollar amount is that they envision? What were some of the unsexy things that you had to do in your business to level up? And I know there's a lot, but let's just think about the top 2 or top 3, right? And so we'll reverse engineer it. We'll start with you, Dr. Sonja, then we'll go to Shonda and then Dr. Cheryl. So what were some of those unsexy tactics or maneuvers or shifts you had to make to get to the bag, as they call it?
No one tells you when you start working through this, they'll talk about the money and do this and do that, but they don't tell you majority of this, 90% of the work is on you, is inside of you, the mindset shift you have to go through. See, I don't blame them, but I didn't know. I just, like women here, just show me the money, show me how I do this, tell me what I need to do. But no one really said, hey, Sonja, you got to work on you. You got to work on what you saw and what you heard about money. And when I start learning these whole concept of 61% of women would rather talk about death than their money, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And I was like, oh, you used to be that woman. Like, oh, I'm going to avoid all of that. And then when I start understanding who I was as a person, and I start hearing this whole concept, how you do everything is how you do anything. And that is, again, is not a conversation that was happening at my kitchen table as a little girl. Ladies, I don't know about you. My mom had a 3rd grade education. Dad had 2nd grade. They worked in cotton field. She was a housekeeper. She had 12 kids. I'm the youngest. So by the time she got to me, she was like, girl, do whatever. And so, of course, I had a child at 15 years old. I'm going through all of this. And then, so when people come and say, and ladies, be very cautious of this, and I'm coming back around to what you were asking, be very cautious about, oh, I want Cheryl's life. I want Shonda's life. I want Nakita's life. I want this. Well, if you want that, you're going to have to go through everything we went through. And I'll be honest, I'll tell you, you don't want it. I don't know all of their stories, but I know you don't want that. How about your story, right? The biggest thing is about you. The other thing I realized they didn't share with me, and I've learned over probably the last few years, I still believe I'm a baby in this, right? I still believe I'm still learning. I'm still growing in all of this. And, when you say, oh, I want to be a billionaire, I used to joke about it, but now it's like, oh, yeah. But I know the biggest thing that has to shift is not what I'm doing now. It's me. I have to be in the position to receive. And we always want these things. And I call it like the quadrant, right? And there's a quadrant of the spiritual aspect for women. I'll go through it very briefly, but it's a spiritual concept for women that we think, especially women of faith. And I'm going to say this may hurt just a little bit. We think we can just stay in that little cubicle, that little corner. Oh, I know God, I can pray, I can do all this. We just do that. And we say things, I'm waiting on God. He's sitting back like, girl, can y'all tell them I'm waiting on them? They're not waiting on me. You're not waiting on me. It's already done. And then we stay in there, and then we come over. There's a health and wellness area We just want to stay there. And so, but the health and wellness is not just about our body, it's what's going on the inside of us. I had to learn that piece. Even though people, I call myself skinny fat. And I know folks like, oh, how can you say that? They don't understand. I can't eat a lot. You want this size 2, size 4, but you can't eat that. You can't eat that. Ooh, that's going to make you sick. And so we have to really understand, just be healthy and feel good about yourself emotionally and spiritually and physically. And then we go to this whole part about relationships. They just want the money. And ladies, I know you're thinking, I just want the money. Just show me the money. But if you don't deal with those two and then come over to relationships, the relationship you have with your spouse, relationship you have with your family, friends, coworkers, and all of those, I had to come to a point, I had to come to a place of peace. This person can stay, this person can go. Oh, new girlfriend, don't want a lot of them, because right now the circle is small, but it's important to understand about the relationship stability. And last but not least, deal with our money. We cannot continue as women, even my single moms that are listening right now, writing our budget, ooh, bad word, on a napkin and understanding that concept. And I truly believe when I tackled all 4 of them and became stable, and I'm not perfect. This is not about being a perfectionist, but this was looking at progress. When I really understand those 4, that quadrant, my whole life, and then that's when my business changed. The millions didn't come just cause, oh, I did the work. No, it was so beyond that. So ladies, there's some work to do, but just don't think it's just show me the money. You got to do the work that goes along with it, and it starts from the inside out.
Come on, yes, yes, Queen. I mean, just perfection in that statement of like the money will come, the coin will come, the bag will come, right? Now, again, first seek his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Believe that. But like you said, it's so true, because I get that too a lot. You know, Jesus Coffee and Prayer Christian Publishing House. So the women, oh, sister, you know, till you show them that invoice. Oh, Lord bless you. Hallelujah. But, but you know, oh, well, sister, let me pray on this. Okay, Queen, no worries. You know, what have you, but you're so right. We can't stay in that bucket. You know, when my home church says, you know, we're waiting on a move of God, but you are the move of God. God sent you. Like, he works through people. So that means he's working through you. You're the move. Yeah, me, what? Jacked up, messed up. This happened, as you stated, you were 15, you had a child, right? Who knows statistically? I'm sure I can Google what the statistics say, where you should be, who you should be, what you should have or not have if you're still here. Right. I already know. So that's so good. Everything that you said. So Shonda, we're going to bring it to you, Queen. What's your perspective? I love to hear.
Well, before I get into my perspective, I wanted to just acknowledge Dr. Sonja for her service in the military. I mean, that is tremendous. My mom was actually a Navy nurse, and that's how we got to Oakland, because she went to college on a naval scholarship. So we're always giving honor, especially the women that are helping lead this nation and fighting for us. I wanted to just make sure I said that. On this point, my mentor always told me, and it's so true, and her company it's hundreds of millions of dollars, Black woman doing it, is that you can't follow the money. Like people that, and I tell my son that too, I was like, don't do anything that you won't do for free. Because you'll get caught up in some stuff that you don't even want to get caught up in, focusing just on money, and you'll be hurt, and your feelings will get hurt, because in business you have to keep money going. Like, you'll make millions, but that's this year. What about next year and the year after that? You got to keep it going, right? So the hardest thing for me, one, was to stop caring about what everybody else thought, because like Dr. Sonja said, it's not necessarily lonely, but you are alone a lot of times, and you do narrow your group, and it becomes quality, not quantity. And you have to get over that part of it, and you have to be okay with that part of it, because even the people that work for you don't understand what you're going home with. I mean, I'm responsible for families, you know, people's livelihoods. My business has to be successful because the people who work for me, and then the businesses that we're helping, I have to be successful to be able to help those businesses. So that means I have to be whole and centered. That means there's work and tools that I have to be applying. Like you said, the 4 quadrants. You have to be writing down your goals, not annually, daily. You have to wake up every morning I do morning prayer at 6 a.m. and my day doesn't end till the next, probably 24 hours. It's the next day I'm into, and my day's ended. That's every woman and people that are in business. And for women, especially Black women in business, we are nurturers. We take care of the family. We take care of the household. So us being in business means more than just the business in the normal setting about just the money and the bottom line. We're absolutely focused on that, but we're also focused on how is this helping our family? What am I leaving, the legacy I'm leaving for my children and their grandchildren? Because what we're doing right now is not for us, it's for our children's children. What we do today is really going to impact their lives, because what's happening today is based on what happened yesterday for us. So we're looking for that for them. So just that weight. And my mom always talked to me, because, you know, she and my dad were in business together, so she understands business. So I can talk to her too about, people don't understand the weight you go home with after you go home. Like, you're not punching out on the clock. You know, with us, we have multi-clients. So my clients have issues 24 hours, and we're here to solve and help them be better. So I'm going home with that. I'm going home with making sure that everything is flowing, not only with just my household and my family, but with the people that I employ and their families and their whole, because they're like my family too, because we have a boutique business. So it's a boutique by design, because we want it to be, I want it to be special people with the same focus and driven and follow through that I have as part of our company, because they're a reflection of me when they're working with our clients, and they're a reflection of what the company was built on. So I had to then get past, I also had to get past, you know, speaking, because I'm bashful and nobody believes it, not even my mom. She's like, you're not bashful. I'm like, yes, I am. I just say, but it keeps me humble, because I feel like if I didn't have that bashfulness, then I would have an arrogantness that would be just like ridiculous, right? So it keeps me humble, and I stay prayerful, and it keeps me like to be more in tune with what God wants me to say in this moment, and how he wants me to show up, and how he wants me to blow my mind. So it's not about me, it becomes greater than me. And so I had to get comfortable with that too, because growing up, I might have wanted to be more, you know, dim my light, where God's like, no, I want light shining from the mountaintop. What's the point of having a light if it's not shining? But I had to be comfortable with that part of it too. And then I also had to get comfortable with the fact that, you know, like you're saying, nothing is promised. So you might be going focused on one part of business, and you're drilling on that, and your ego's all focused on, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get this. And God's like, no, I have something else. And something else comes. So you have to be okay with the pivot. And that's why I said, even in this pandemic, we've been pivoting, especially if you're a Black woman in business and you've been in business for over a certain amount of time, and you actually have employees too. You've been pivoting for a minute. So this is what you do. But now it's about, like Dr. Sonja said, it's about us using this moment for our moment, for our light to shine, for us as Black women to be okay with being beautiful Black women, and no longer be apologetic for who we are, and being okay to receive the blessings that we have. For our culture, for years in the church even, they always would downplay wealth. You know, money is the root of all evil was what you raised on, and all. It's like, how do we get in that trick bag? And then you have money. We had money. My mom's like, don't tell anybody what we have. Don't tell, you know, like we're all scared to, and then it's like, over it. No, we're gonna do this, and we do this because it's not just for us. Your wealth and your blessings are not just for you. It's for all those around you. It's for those who come after you. If you think of it like that, you're just a vehicle for all of this. And when you get past your ego and your place and get really spiritual and realize you are just a vehicle, and let your light shine bright and be okay with it. And those who aren't, God is just showing you that they're not supposed to be in your path. Bless them and move on. Now that's hard to do. I'm saying it's hard to do because you might have had friends that were friends with for you since kindergarten. That's your best friend. They're gonna be your best friend forever. We never not gonna be friends, pinky promise. And that's the one that God says, oh no, that you guys have outgrown that friendship, and you are in another place, and you can't get to your next without being your best. So I want the best around you. I want the best from you. And if you want the best in your life, you have to be the best in every single moment, So that's like a lot to unpack, but it's a lot to deal with. And that's the part that when you're in business, that people may see the success, they may see the glory, and they may see all the things that they want, but they just have to understand that doesn't just happen overnight. There's a lot of self-work that you have to do, and there's a lot of giving and not receiving that has to happen. And there's a lot of clearing that you have to do, and you have to be okay with it. And as a woman and a woman of faith, you really have to be humble, like 99.9% of the time. And that is not always easy to do and be. So that's where I am on it. And I'm still learning and evolving, and I'm still working on me every single day.
Come on, Queen. Yes, yes, yes. You know, if you are still living and you still have blood in your veins, you should always be wanting to learn, to grow, to glean, to evolve, period. Because, I mean, you know, what is it? You know, people want to be the highest in the room, but then, okay, you're the highest in the room. So everybody else stupid. So everybody else don't know. Everybody, I mean, how annoying would that be? Maybe for about 2 seconds, yeah, I'm the highest in the room. I know everything. I've got words of wisdom for days. But now what? Now everybody's getting on your nerves because they don't know and they don't have and they don't. You see what I'm saying? So there is that form of the humbleness and the humility that you spoke about. And then even getting to the place, like you said, you tripped me out with that. What you said with the church, honey, with that money. Hey, look, don't tell them. Hey, did y'all put that car up in the garage? We don't want them to see that car. So, you know, I'm trying to be, you know, but that's some things, honey, we got to break some roots off from that. And I know other women from all over the world are watching this. So everybody watching this is an African-American, excuse me. So we're just giving you a lens from our viewpoint. We still love you. If you're not, you're in the sisterhood, but we got to call it like it TI is from our lenses. And we want to share that with you because at the end of the day, it's all about sisterhood, camaraderie, and we all want to light a match. We all want to be a girl on fire. And I honestly believe we can do that together with some fundamental, the quadrants, as Dr. Sonja spoke about earlier, we can do that. So I love that. Queen, Dr. Cheryl, you know we got to put you in the mix. I know you got a whole lot to say. No, but please, Queen.
You know what? I just love listening to those ladies. I'm a student too. I feel like I love that we're all like, I'm just getting started. I'm still a baby, because that's how we feel. I think that's how leaders feel. Like, I still have so much to learn. I still have so much growing to do. And I love being a lifelong student. So I loved listening to both the ladies. For me, what I had to learn was this: your money won't grow where your mind won't first go. And what I mean by that is, for such a long time, I stayed stuck in a space of scarcity because my mindset was scarce. Like, literally, I came from an environment. I grew up in an inner city housing project in Baltimore, Maryland, called Lafayette Projects. It was a 13-story high-rise building where I saw the worst parts of life growing up. And when you're in that environment, nobody's telling you that you can be great. Nobody's telling you you can be wealthy. No, as Dr. Sonja said, nobody's having that conversation around the table. We're talking about surviving, not thriving. And those are the conversations that I got used to. I got used to seeing my mother rob Peter to pay Paul. So as I grew up with this idea that, wow, it's a great thing to be addicted to financial struggle. Like, there's so much pride in being able to stretch your money and make it last. And, oh, I paid a little bit to that and a little bit to that. And, oh, I kept all the lights on. Like, literally, I had become addicted to financial scarcity. And nobody in my life or my world was saying, Cheryl, you can be greater. You can do better. So I followed the course that I was taught, which is get a good job, get up out the hood and go do something with your life, get that job and retire from that job. And again, I did what I knew how to do. Now, I didn't go off for 4 years of self-discovery and a college degree. So I had not only coming from a background of scarcity and poverty, but then I grew up in a single parent household. Then I come into the corporate world and they tell me you're still not good enough because you don't have letters behind your name. Everything about everything that everybody was telling me was, you ain't enough. You're never gonna be. You don't deserve. And when you have that constantly being fed into your spirit, that's what you start to believe. So when I came into this space called entrepreneurship, I didn't know anything about professional development. I didn't know anything about personal development. I knew about surviving, not thriving. Nobody had that conversation. Nobody gave me a handbook. And I gotta call this out. And then there were women who looked like me, who knew I had a gift, who weren't willing to open the door for me because they felt like, oh, you're too much. You're too bright. I didn't even know I had brightness in me yet. That was the crazy part. I didn't even realize that God was going to do something amazing through me. I had no clue. All I wanted was a different reality. I didn't want to survive anymore. I didn't want to race off to a corporate job that I didn't love. I didn't want to race off to a job that kept me stuck at a certain salary because I didn't have enough letters behind my name. And it was that curiosity about what else is available that made me start my business. And I didn't start a speaking business. I started as a t-shirt company in 2009. That was how I started this journey, because I knew that in order to get something different, that I was going to have to create something different. At the time when I started the t-shirt business in 2009, all I wanted, check this out, I just wanted to replace my $75,000 a year revenue. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to be able to walk away from the corporate job that sucked all of my energy from me. And I just wanted to replace that so I could be home and be a present mother, not the mother who brought the worst parts of me home to my 3 kids. And that's all I wanted. So I would go out on the weekends. I kept my full-time job. And that's a hint too. Y'all stop walking away from them full-time job. That's your investor before it's too soon. I'm just saying, somebody need to tell you. Keep that job until you are where you're in a space where your job actually can, your career and your business can actually support you full-time. So I keep my job. On the weekends, I go out and I sell these t-shirts. And sometimes I come back home broke, busted, and disgusted the same way I went. I ain't sell nothing, or I sold 1 shirt or 2 shirts. And then my husband, his head trash is on top of my head trash because he like, oh, so how much you sell? I'm like, well, and I'm trying to get out of that conversation because the man just want to know, you've been gone for 6 hours. How much money you bring up in this house? All right, that's a whole different conversation. So when I tell you I had so much head trash going on, I had to go into deep prayer and meditation to say, God, show me who I'm supposed to be. Show me the greatness that I know is somewhere buried inside of me. Show me this abundance that you say I can have, this prosperity. Because if I come from a God of abundance, if I come from a God who says I can have all things, why don't I have it? What am I missing? What's the dots that I need to connect so that I can create this different reality for myself? So that was my start. It was my own head trash that prevented me from becoming profitable. It was my own head trash that prevented me from crossing 6 figures and 7 figures. It was nobody else. It was me. I kept saying, Cheryl, you don't have a degree. Nobody's going to book you on their stage. Cheryl, you don't have this, that, or the other. You don't have enough. And then I went into comparing myself to other people. And there's a quote that I live by that literally comparison is the thief of all joy. And I had to learn that and stop comparing myself to everybody else and how much money they were making and how good they were and I had to stop that nonsense and just say, God is going to do something miraculous through you. God is going to literally shift generations through you, Cheryl. He's going to, as someone said earlier, you're going to be the one to introduce your children to what wealth creation really looks like. And it's going to be generational wealth that's going to be passed down to your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and generations to come. Now, how did I get there? Then I mimicked what the other lady said. It was through a lot of hard work. It was through showing up when I felt like I didn't belong. It was through showing up when other people was telling me you don't belong on the stage. It was showing up and getting the payment with a ham sandwich and a thank you. You were so great as a speaker, but it didn't come with a check yet. It was those things that I had to press through and keep showing up with belief that one day there's going to be a tipping point. One day, my reputation is going to speak for me before I ever get into the room. One day, my money and my bank account is going to be reflective of the level of service that I'm delivering in the world. One day. It was just the idea of one day. There's no way you can keep putting in the work. There's no way you can keep serving at the level I was serving. There's no way you can keep pouring out all of you into other people and God don't bless that thing tenfold. Oh, it's coming. It's not going to come in your timing. It's coming in divine timing. I went from making $75,000 a year to $75,000 a month. You talk about a girl from the hood, a girl who ain't know nothing about having money in the bank. Literally. How's that happen? It's a God thing. It's a God divine timing thing. It's a divine orchestration with women like this who see greatness in you and are willing to open the doors. And I pray for God for discernment. Like, God, give me the discernment to know who's for me and who's against me. Not the people who just want to ride my coattail because they think I'm going somewhere and they want to get what they can get and dip out. No, the women who have the opportunity and the willingness to open a door for me. So I can tell you there have been Black women who have opened doors of opportunity for me that I never would have had. Corporate opportunities that paid me $10,000, $12,000, $20,000 to come in and just use the gift God gave me, my voice. That doesn't just happen. That happens through divine orchestration. That happens through you showing up. Scripture says faith without works is dead. Like, you got to work. You got to give God something to work with. And then work on mindset, like the lady said. Like, you got to believe that you were intended to be in this place. You were intended to create wealth. You were intended not only to serve, but also to be served, to transform lives and to have your life transformed in the process of transforming lives. So my life today is barely recognizable. It don't look like nothing that it looked like 10 years ago. when I first started this journey. My kids have been on the soil of South Africa. My kids, every international trip I take, my kids get to go with me. I got 3 teenagers and a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, and a 16-year-old. They've been to South Africa with me when I spoke. They've been to India with me when I spoke. They've been to Paris, France last year when I did my first international conference. That's a God thing. So you keep showing up. You plant so many seeds that you lose count. And I promise you the money is coming. I promise you the money is coming. And that's what happened with my life. And I'm just so thrilled to talk about it, to share it, and encourage you. Don't give up. Don't quit. I don't care what anybody else has. I don't care what they got that you feel like I want that, but I don't have it yet. Oh, God, not blessing me. He is blessing you. Things are happening behind the scenes before it ever manifests tangibly. Like, don't you want, you get that? You got to get that God is doing the working behind the scenes. And then when you show up on the scene, people are like, well, how did you get here? Baby, God got a VIP entrance for me. You know, VIP don't never come in through the front door. Y'all do know that, right? VIP don't never come in through the front entrance that you came in through. See, he took me around the back to the VIP entrance. And you were wondering how I got here because you thought I was going to be dependent upon you opening the door. But God had a whole nother door plan. Keep your faith strong. Keep your prayer life strong. Keep serving people and let your reputation speak for you before you ever walk in the room. And doors will be open. You will be placed before kings and queens. And other people will be left wondering, how did she get here?
Oh, geez. Oh, my gosh. I mean, dude, I got the little, trying to be cute, got the little leather coat on, honey. I'm getting the chills through the leather coat, baby. Because it's just so, oh, my gosh, especially with the seeds. People don't understand. They put the little seed down and then, oh, I'm checking back on the seed. Did it grow? It's been a day. Oh, it ain't grow today. Oh, it's been a month. Don't see nothing sprouted. What you don't understand is God is moving so deeply at the root of under the soil. You see somebody else glitz and glams or whatever. Come on, we live in the world of social media. Can't we just keep it 100? I can make it look like I am riding on a unicorn every day and galloping through the galaxy, okay? If I want to. And people, when they mention me, she saw her on the galaxy. Now, I'm telling you, they can do whatever they want, but God wants to do a work so deep in you. It's the inner workings, as these queens have explained to you tonight. And I hope you're getting that. Like the money, the glitz, the glam, the celebrity status, or who you get to meet, who's who in TV. All of those things are just products of him doing the inner work in you and in your spirit, and the impact. I tell my queens that I have the opportunity to coach or my authors, because I really want them to level up and see that their book is not just a book is a business, baby. And I'll teach you how to dug it. Now, it may not be where these queens at yet, but Jesus, I'm on my way, I tell you that. And because of that, it's just like, look, keep putting in the work, consistency. People get so discouraged. And hear me out. There's nothing wrong if you work a 9 to 5. We all, at some point in our journey, have worked a 9 to 5. There's okay to work a 9 to 5. However, if you're wanting to level up in this season and you're wanting to be that girl boss and start your business, your speaking career, your coaching, whatever the gift is, if you want to, I tell people, I don't care if I was selling shoestrings. If you want to start your shoestring business tomorrow, okay? Consistency. You can't pop up today, take a vacation for 30 days, then come back. Where the people at? Well, honey, they thought you were gone. You got to consistently show up, and then all of a sudden, opportunities will come to you because people will say, she's consistent. I see her all the time. She's always moving. She's always encouraging. I saw her on this stage. I saw her on that platform. Isn't she doing a coaching or a mastermind or a boot camp or blah, 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 blah. They see you and they say, man, now they're reaching out to you. Now they want to connect with you. Now they want to know how they can get closer to your circle so they can soar too. So that is so good. The seeds, I tell my husband that all the time, and I can just feel it because, again, I pray for wisdom and discernment daily. Like, I love my children, but I pray for wisdom and discernment before I even pray for my children, because I need to know how to maneuver. I need to know how to move in this season. I need to know in every season, God, what will you have me to do? Because there's a good idea and there's a God idea. There's a good idea. People get caught up and distracted and derailed with good ideas. There's a bunch of good ideas, but what's a God idea? What did he put on the inside in the pit of your belly that must be birthed? That's the God idea. If you feel a little queasy, your stomach feel like it's in a little bit of a knot, probably a God idea. Probably a God idea. If you are a woman of faith, right? Otherwise, who knows, maybe you got indigestion. But if you're a woman of faith, then it probably is a God idea, because whatever he wants to do, it's going to be huge. It's going to be beyond your mind. So I love that. Keep planting the seeds, keep being faithful, keep showing up, keep serving, keep being consistent, keep that prayer life, keep your whole spiritual life intact. Your spiritual life can't be intact. Everything else can't be intact, and your spiritual life is jacked up. And then you want to know why the blessings of Abraham ain't coming on you and your family. What? And the Lord is not a genie. He's not a genie. I'm not sure what book of Aladdin you may have been reading, but he's not a genie. You can't just, oh, Heavenly Father, it don't work like that, sis. So you got to be consistent, because guess what? When you know our Father, when you know your daddy, he knows the desires of your heart, because you're in connection. When you reach out to a friend you haven't reached out to for many, many years, y'all got to catch up, right? Girl, what you been up to? Oh, the kids, this, the boot. And that's beautiful. But if it's somebody you're in daily connection with, I don't have to tell you what I did last week or a month ago, because we talk every day. You know me every day. So he knows the desires of my heart. And guess what? If I'm abiding in him, then I know the desires of his heart for me, the will over my life. You got it? All right, good. That was so good, so powerful. Just when I tell y'all, I'm in just such awe. Just not only, yes, Black girl magic. Yes. Okay, I just have to call it out. This is Black excellence at its finest. I need you to understand that. But they're so beautiful inside and out. It's just not a persona or something fictitious that you see. They truly are a sister's keeper. And I love that. That is so big. So let's shift a little bit and let's talk about that, right? Because, and again, I'm not going to just say the Black community. I'm going to just say in general. Sometimes as women, we can get into this space of, yeah, I'll help her, but she can't do better than me, right? Or we'll get into this space of not wanting to share information. I'm not talking about trade secrets, yo Popeye's recipe. I'm not talking about your secret sauce that only you can do, that's licensed or trademarked, okay? Shonda, coming back for you for that title. But I'm talking about, you know, the thing that really will help another queen elevate. Let's talk about what you feel is the myth in that. Is there a myth, or is that true? Right? I know, Dr. Cheryl, you talked a little bit about platforms and how some folks maybe looked at you and then didn't give you the help that you needed. So let's talk about that, because my whole thing is I want to debunk that. Very much of who I am and what I do is have, you know, various events, etc. But I talk about queen. I say it all the time. Queen. I know people just slide my DM. They be like, hey, queen. They know me from a can of paint, but I'm glad that they know that that's synonymous with me. But, you know, sisterhood is so important. How can we get to a better place? Is it a myth that we don't want to help? Is it a myth that we don't want to help each other? And if so, what can we do to rewrite that story? Why do we feel that way? When I talk to a lot of women, it seems like, oh, well, they don't want to help me. They don't want to connect with me. They don't want to collaborate with me. Why do we have that? What's in our head, and how do we get rid of that trash in 2021? Whoever wants to take that. I'm gonna just say whoever wants to take that. You just come off mute and let me know.
Well, the first thing I have to say is that in order to change that, you have to change that within yourself, because a lot of that is your own insecurity, really, because you're afraid that someone else, if you're afraid that there's not enough, you're coming from a place of lack. You really have to work on yourself, meaning like the only thing you can change and control is you. And that's the first thing we don't want to change. I mean, I wrote an article about that, how as an entrepreneur, it's like you're self-employed. So if you want things to change in your business and in your company and in your life, the article is about, then that means you have to change self. And everything has to change. And that's one thing COVID has made clear to people, that if they didn't know before, they know now that things can change in a blink of an eye. And so it's a way of you having to accept change. I have this thing called 12 new things, and it was a way to embrace change and do something different, even if it was working, even if it was positive, but even especially if it's negative, do something new and different in every day. And it was 12 because it was once a month. So it made 12 new things, but it was a way to embrace change and be okay with it, because that's one common factor, that everything, that change will happen. Like seasons change, time change, everything changes. And that's the thing that we're hardest to do, is change. Like we're most resistant. Like I've been doing this for ever long and I'm gonna keep doing it that way. Well, that's not natural, because natural is change. And so in order for us to be better with accepting and being free to give out information and share, like my patent, I give you that just for free. That was a gift. You know, I'm not charging for that. That was just a blessing and a gift. I'll be blessed from somewhere else. But we have to be able to be comfortable with ourselves and not be in a place of lack. We have to know that there's abundance. There's enough for everyone. So there's billions out here. I mean, there's hundreds of billions, there's trillions out here. You know, as Americans, we're spending trillions of dollars. Like there's $1 trillion deficit. So if you think of it in that totality, then these 6, 7, 8, 10 figures, that's nothing compared to $1 trillion. So there's enough for everyone to have. But when we come from a place of lack, it's hard to see that, because you think if you share your idea with someone else, that means that that'll take away from you. Not looking at how the internet opened up a whole world for us to know that sharing is a way to make billions, you know. So if we come from that, but it all comes back to self and changing ourself and how and what we feel and our comfort with us, because I can't help you if I'm coming from a place of fear. I have to be coming from a place of faith that God's going to provide for me. So it's okay for me to help you. It's collectively, we do more together than I could do individually. If I want to grow my business, I can't grow it as one person. I have to have other people there to share. But it's a process to get comfortable with the place of abundance in every area of your life, and even with yourself. And so being more free to give and to share with other people, and know that it's not always linear. Like I give to you, I'm not going to be necessarily blessed back from you. It may be somebody else is blessing me. That's the whole part of the blessing. I get something from somewhere else that I didn't even expect, but I opened up the channels for me to be able to receive that blessing by giving to you. And then you do the same thing and spread it around, like random acts of kindness. I'll do a random act of kindness and it'll come back to me from some other place randomly. And it's like an aha moment, like, oh, that's right, I did that random act. And look at what happened to me. I didn't even expect that, God. Thank you. But so it still comes down to feeling comfortable with yourself, knowing that you're coming from a place of abundance and not lack. And that's how you can be okay with helping other people and helping someone who you think might be your competitor one day. One of the things that I knew I was growing, and I never had this really, but sometimes I have challenged with it, have had it happen to me, but being okay with somebody else's success coming before yours. And you know, a lot of times with Christians, we feel like, oh, we deserve this, we entitled to this because we're Christians, and somebody who ain't Christian might be outperforming, outdoing and everything else because that was just favor ain't fair. They just had favor on their life. And then sometimes God is just using it for you to see, let me see how comfortable you are with where I want you to be. And then how comfortable you are with being actually genuinely happy for other people. And I actually am genuinely happy for other people. Like when I see these women and what they're telling about their story, that inspires me. Because for me, it's like if God did it for one person, anything I want to see. God put President Obama in the White House. We knew all kind of possibilities can happen. You know what it happens to them, it can happen to me. Whatever it is that you see, you know that Oprah happened. And like when you saw, you're like, oh, so that's a possibility. So if God, even the people that you have in your everyday life that are doing what you want to have done, it's not a place of I want what they have. No, I want what I want for me. But now God showed me that it's possible. And I don't have to ever think it's impossible.
So good, Queen. Absolutely. It's the possibility. I think I've seen either a meme or something on Facebook where it's like, don't compete on her, or don't, I'm going to mess it up. But basically it said, don't hate on your fellow sister because she's not your competition. She's showing you that it's possible. She's showing you it's possible. So if you're smart, it's not that you're trying to get like her, but Lord, in the space that you want me to have, I may not have the same patience as her, but maybe you can increase my patience. I may not ever have whatever dollar amount she has, but maybe you can help me elevate in a financial space, right? Because she's showing me that it's possible. When you give a man hope and let them know possibility, or a woman hope and possibility, the sky is not even a limit. So it's the possibility. And I definitely know this, and the word says it, but the more you give out, it's going to come back. It's like this reciprocation, right? And like you said, Queen Shonda, it may not be from the same exact person, but the more, if I want encouragement, encourage other people. If I want other people to say kudos, or man, nobody ever tells me, start telling more people and mean it authentically. I'm not talking about this fake foo-foo, but mean it authentically and give it out to them. Absolutely love that. And I saw you, Dr. Sonja, you were going to say something on it as well.
You know, when you said that, I just felt something on the inside, like, oh, don't say nothing. No, you be quiet. So I got to share, I see two different sides. And I would say coming from the military, it was a little different because I came up from the ranks like a private, and then I went to officer candidate school. And so I had to really work my way. And I was always either the only woman or the only Black woman at most of the tables. And I was normally senior. And so some of the things that would normally kind of hold us back, I was able to sit at the table like, no, you're not going to hold us back. Okay, where are my other soldiers at? Bring them up to the table, and always trying to give them the opportunity. And so when I retired, I came out and I called it the civilian world. I'm like, what is going on? What's going on? And I'm thinking to myself, so what happened along the way? I can't speak to that. But one thing I have seen, I tell my clients even now, be better than me. Don't take as long as I took. And they're like, oh, Dr. Sonja, this went fast. Okay, 5 years is fast to you, but I could have done it sooner if my mindset was in a place where I understood you don't have to take this long. And I'm not saying about duration and time frame. I just mean thinking about things differently. Again, not all of us had the opportunity to have parents that sat down and had those conversations. And those who didn't, we had to learn along the way and from someone else. And you know, my mom said something one day, and she told me about, she said, there are going to be some people out there that want you to do well or do okay, but there's some that want you to do well. And she said, be around people who celebrate you and not tolerate you. And I started paying attention at a very young age what was happening, but I really couldn't see, you know, you're young, you're 16, 18 years old. Then I joined the military. So I believe I was kind of sheltered from it, but I see it now in this industry. There is enough. Shonda said it perfectly. There's enough for everybody in the coaching space or consulting space. $350 billion. Girl, give me a piece of that. It's enough for you, and you. And one thing I can say I'm truly grateful for right now, and I don't think y'all understand, I've been looking for women like you. I mean, just like, can I be in the room? Can I have a conversation? And I had to work on me. Well, stop shrinking, because they're going to say something. You don't have to have this bold personality. Even though I used to be shy, I'm not shy anymore per se. I still am a little bit. I'm very private, but I realize I just can't sit back and watch other women not get their opportunity. However, let me kind of share this piece. And for every queen that is listening, I think there's different levels to this. We as women of faith, and I'll talk about it. You brought it up earlier and I was like, oh, don't say anything, but I got to. We have this tendency as women of faith thinking sometimes that things are supposed to be free. Let me talk about the free 99, if I may. The free 99 causes a woman of scarcity to think that because I want to do this and Cheryl's got the answer. Cheryl, let me creep up in your inbox. Let me creep over in your email. And Cheryl, I need help, sister. I need you to help me. You know, this happened to me, and please, I don't want to disrespect anybody. Everybody has their own situation. But I'm going to say this, the name of my book, so you won't think I'm dropping these words, No More Damn Excuses. That's the name for women entrepreneur and business owners. And I say that because they're booking it for, you know, church events and things like that. And I don't want anybody to think, but I say that to bring emphasis to, we have things that are happening in our lives. I could easily say, I'm a statistic, 15 years old, I had a child, 17, I was raped and left for dead. I shouldn't be here. I know that. You don't have to tell me. I know what God's done for me, but I'm not going to roll up in Shonda's inbox either and say, I need you to help me. I need you to help me do this because I got 4 kids and I got this, my 3 boys. I love my children, but that's not your responsibility. Hello, free 99. That's not yours. Your responsibility is to show up. I have the answers for you. This is free. Whatever it is, we get the books. You got these things, because the truth be told, many of you, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars to sit in a room with you. And when you get that opportunity, don't take it lightly. And so when it's time, let's go to the second level of women. I don't want your free. When a lady told me, she said, I don't want your free, because she heard me say before, if I give you my free, that means there's not a lot of time for you to give, for me to share with you what's above the free. She said, I need to be coached by you. What's my investment? That's only because they heard me talk about it. What's my investment? I had to be taught that, ladies. They didn't talk about it. What's it going to cost me? I don't even say that anymore. So ladies, the queens that are listening and you want something, I'm going to challenge many of you. I'm going to challenge you to really think about, do you want these beautiful women with all this knowledge and expertise? Do you want their free? Or do you want the part where they had to invest? Because I'm sure many of us, it's probably millions of dollars invested in higher level coaching so we could just become even a portion of the women we're supposed to become. And then you come, no disrespect to anybody. Girl, do you know what I had? I had literally, my kids were trying to play football. I took football money and came over here and said, I'm investing in myself. So coach, I'm gonna need you, the cleats, I need to do this. To where I get to show my 21-year-old that this is the type of things that you do. You build a business. You can go to school, play football, but you're not there just to get an education. You're getting understanding about socializing, because that's not my dream for you, is to work for someone else. I want to show you how it's done. I don't want to talk to you about it. And so when you brought that up, Nakita, I had to share. Even though some of us, you want help, go get the help. But you got to understand there's levels to this. And don't ever walk into a queen's life and say, I need you to help me because this happened and this happened. Girl, she gonna say, me too. So what else you got, right? All of us gonna say, me too. But I know the Me Too movement, but it happened to me too. But we had to pull ourselves up, and God was there, but he had a conversation with us that I think some women are blocking that. With this last part, they're blocking the part that, okay, I will give you the desires of your heart when you do the work. When you get up and do something instead of sitting just like this, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Sure, I'll see y'all the beginning of the year, new me. Girl, you the same person that rolled out of bed last year and said the same thing. We quit on ourselves way too easy. 3 feet from gold. There's too many women that have opportunities, and we haven't walked this out simply because we think somebody's supposed to give us something. We owe you nothing but to love you. That's it. Now, let's get to work and let's do the doggone thing, because it's time. It's time. I'll see y'all at the top. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Come on, Queen. Come on. Drop the proverbial invisible mic. Did y'all see the invisible mic fall? It just fell. Boom. There it is. There it is. Look. Water. Drop. Boom. Queen. No lie. Oh my gosh. Long story short, I had, I forgot what the project was. Whatever it was, canvassing women. Queen jumped in my email. Oh no, she hit me with, I read about 6 times to my husband. I said, baby, did she send this to me? You expressed interest about this thing that I'm telling you about. And then you jump in my email. Oh yeah, well that money, I got to buy my kid diapers and I got to have surgery. She told me about the surgery and got to buy her baby some diapers. But you asking about this thing that to help you propel, you felt you wanted, that just blew my brain. I said, did she drop the diapers on me? Did she drop the diapers on me? I'm like, sis, I pray for you. I love you with the love of the Lord. But we have to, that is so important. I feel like people don't get it. In order for God to shift the atmosphere, something has to take place. You can't do what you've been doing for the last 5, 10, 15, 25, what mama did and grandma did and all of that. And that's beautiful. They paved the way for you to get here. And that's great. God bless them. That was their role. I talk a lot about playing your royal position. At that appointed time, that was their royal position, to make sure you were safe, you were fed, so that you could get to a space of opportunity, so that you could get to a space of greater. And this is where you are. But sitting here looking at what you have and what you don't have and making all these excuses, that's why the Q and Queen is quit making excuses. I don't want to hear them. I love you. Do you think that the Lord created everything, heavens and the earth? You think he didn't know what happened? He knew you were going to have a baby at 15. He knew that whoever it was going to do whatever they were going to do at 17 and rape, right? I've dealt with queens that have been gang raped and left for dead as well. And just all kind of just things that I'm just like, whoa, Jesus, Lord, let me stop complaining. I'm over here tripping about XYZ. This baby done been through XYZ. But guess what? It does not negate the calling over your life. It does not negate the assignment. It does not negate what he told you to do. Like, he's like, okay, I understand that happened. Now you're going to use that for my glory. You can't do it in your own strength. When you glow up and blow up and you're doing all these things, guess what? He's going to get the glory even more, right? So we just have to get out of this mind space of all these excuses. It's ridiculous. And that when you say, oh, I'm going to wait until Oh, Jesus. If I had $1, I'm telling you, I'd be Bill Gates right now. Me and Bill Gates at the golf course. Come on, let's go. Or whatever. That is foolishness. If God told you to do it, you need to do it right now. This period, whatever it is, even if you don't do it with me, do it with one of these queens. Find a queen, whatever it is, you just got to do it because he will take your obedience over your sacrifice. Obedience over sacrifice. He don't care what's going on, what come, what may. He said, do it. That's the only way. These queens making millions. Let me tell you something. You've got to shift. You've got to shift. You have to trust him and you have to step out on faith, period. Otherwise, there really is no point of you even watching Girl on Fire if you don't have faith and you don't make, I tell people all the time, if you're not going to bust a grape, right? Some of y'all can't bust a grape in a fruit fight. Can't even bust a grape in a fruit fight. I put a post the other day. I said, look, God has blessed me with guts and grace. The guts to do it and the grace to see me through, even if I mess up. You know, I just go ahead and do it. Be like, Jesus, you got me. I'm about to fall. Come and get me. So, but anyway, I love that. That's so good. Dr. Cheryl, go ahead and wrap that and then wrap it up for us in that piece. And then I want to make sure I at least come in and ask a specific question to your niche field because you guys are dynamic, didactic, all that good jazz. And then I do want to take a time to play a little hot seat with you. Is that okay? You're like, what's that about? Don't worry. I'll tell you, Queen. Go ahead, Dr. Cheryl.
Oh my goodness. I'm about to throw my slipper at the screen for Shonda and Dr. Sonja and everything that they have shared. Again, it's just such a blessing to be in this space. For me, I try to be a reflection of what I wish I had when I was coming up as I started in my journey. I didn't have big connections. I didn't have, you know, big names of any celebrity, anybody on speed dial. I didn't have a whole bunch of money in my bank account. What I had was a whole lot of passion, a whole lot of drive, a whole lot of consistency and persistence. And I'm like, I ain't going nowhere. So you might as well say yes to me. I'm just saying. So for me, what I wish was that there were more women who looked like me, who were willing to give me an opportunity. And so I walk in a space of the power of my yes. And what I understand is as Black women, we are taught oftentimes to say no, start saying no to stuff and say no to people and say no. And we hear that so much, but I take a different approach. My approach in my business is the power of my yes. How does my yes elevate another sister? How does my yes help her get to where she wants to be? What can I say yes to? Who can I say? Every day I'm looking for somebody I can say yes to, another sister that looks like me that I can say yes to so that she gets somewhere quicker, as Dr. Sonja was saying, quicker than I got there. There's so much power in that. For me, women like Mickey Taylor the Essence of editor-at-large at Essence magazine. I remember I wanted her so bad for my first conference. This was like in 2013. And I was having it was my second conference. And I was like, oh, I want to elevate. I want to get to another level, right? The first year I didn't have like a big name. And I was just so pumped. And my heart, you know how you send in something and you have a connection and you're like, oh, could you ask her if she would? And you tell her what the budget is. And in your mind, you're like, Lord, she gonna be like, this chick broke. Her budget don't even match my fee. But you praying to God that you get a yes because you understand the power of having that person in your platform. Mickey Taylor gave me her yes. There have been so many women who gave me a yes. Yeah, there were some who gave me a no. There were some who act like I didn't exist. I wasn't on the planet when I first started. But I prayed to God to surround me with women who were willing to give me a yes, knowing that I was willing to work hard for it, knowing that I didn't want a handout. I wanted a hand up. I wanted to be helped. I wanted you to expose me to things I didn't know. I want you to expose me to circles I never known about because I came from an environment of scarcity. I wanted to be in the intimate circle with women who had power, who had influence, who were making impact in the world. And I didn't know how I was going to get there because I was broke at the time. That's the reality. I was living paycheck to paycheck like most people. So I was like, God, how do I do this? How do I do this? And a part of it was me making sacrifice to be able to extend something. But then the other half was they had to meet me halfway to say, this isn't quite what I would normally get, but I'm willing to say yes to you. I believe in you. I see greatness in you. God is downloading me that I need to connect with you to help elevate you. And there were so many women who said yes to me. So now I'm a reflection of that. I say yes to sisters. When sisters ask me to come on a platform, yes, absolutely. What else I'm doing in COVID? Sitting here at home getting fatter? No, not doing that. So let me say yes to the sister. If someone asks me to come and speak on a platform, yes. And they're not always able to pay me my full speaker fee, but it's okay. Because what I believe, and Shonda spoke to this, is that you will always reap what you sow, not where you sow. what you sow, but not where you sow. It's always coming back to you. So the more I give, the more I serve, the more I say yes, the more, man, it's coming back to me so quick, I can barely keep up with it. Like, it's overflowing because of my yeses. So I just take power in that. Now, here's the other piece of that. When you pray to God for the opportunities and you pray to God for your sisters to help elevate you, you better be ready for the opportunity that you said you wanted. That is where a lot of sisters are missing the piece. It's like they're saying, I want to be elevated, but nothing about you says elevation. You ain't showing up. You're not being consistent. You don't look the part. You don't talk the part. You don't walk the part. You're not working on you. You're not doing personal development. You're not doing professional development. So no one can help you elevate because you ain't elevating you first. So I also had to be in position, ready for the elevation that I prayed to God for. When my sister, a woman who looks like me, said, hey, I'm in this decision-making role and I can bring you into this corporation. I can sign you up for this XYZ $1 million contract. I had to be in position. I had to be ready to walk into that space. I had to show up confident. I had to show up compelling. I had to show up captivating so that I could get the opportunity. I had to make sure my stuff was on point, as in my behind the scenes, my DUNS number, my business license, my EI, right? Like some of the stuff we take for granted in business. You have got to be a legitimate, real business if you're going to do real, legitimate business. So those were the things I had to learn that nobody taught me from the get-go. I had to learn that, okay, if I want to play at that level, I got to play a different game. I got to show up a different way. I got to make sure I'm standing in position and saying, God, I pray to you for that blessing. I pray for you to open those doors. Now let me show you that I'm serious, which goes back to Dr. Sonja, which is let me invest in me and learn the stuff I don't already know. So that when that sister who is in a decision-making role can offer me the contract or the opportunity or the speaking engagement or whatever it is. Just this year was NASA at the beginning of a pandemic. Paid me my full speaker's fee, ordered 125 autographed copies of my book. That wasn't nothing but God saying, daughter, you're in position. You've done the work. You've planted the seeds. You've elevated other people. You ain't never go up and not bring another sister with you. Now let me use a sister, a woman of color, to elevate you. She found me on LinkedIn. You hear what I'm saying? Complete stranger. So it wasn't somebody that I knew that was in my circle. It was divine intervention, divine orchestration that led me to that opportunity. And now I'll be sipping on my NASA cup for every speaking engagement. I'll be like, oh, you want me to be on your virtual? Sure. So it was a combination of me knowing that I had to play a different game. I had to invest in myself, like Dr. Sonja said, that I had to elevate my own game, that I had to have my back end stuff right so that I could get the opportunities. When they said, hey, send that invoice over for XYZ, hey, jump into our SAM system and get ready. I had everything ready, everything in order. And so sisters did elevate me, and sisters continue to elevate me, and I continue to elevate others. Oprah set the example. Like, she didn't just rise to the top. She opened the door for who? Ayanna Van Zandt. She opened the door for Dr. Phil. She opened the door for Susie Orman. There's a whole laundry list of people. So success leaves clues. So I follow people that's successful. Okay, if she opened the doors for other people, that means I need to do the same thing. And that is what I believe and I live by, saying yes to more women and elevating other sisters as I'm elevated.
Queen, there we go again. Come on, pass the little invisible mic. Let's go ahead and we passing the invisible mic. We dropping it. You see that? You saw that? It dropped again. So good, Queen. I'm over here like, I think I maybe DM'd you or something. And I said, oh my gosh, this lady, I don't want her to think I'm stalking her. But when she's talking about stuff, I'm like, if she don't get out of my freaking head, this is crazy. But I mean, but it's so true and so good. Like, of course, as you elevate, you got to bring other people. I forget, I'm going to mess up who said this quote, but basically it said, you can get anything you want in life. Bring enough people with you. You can get anything you want on this earth. Bring enough people with you. Elevate enough people with you. Bring them up even before you, as we talked about that, and depending on the genre, what have you. Bring them up and watch how you just rise on up with them, because you're bringing people with you. They honor that. And what I know to be true, and I know all of these women, these queens here can say this as well, as you do that, you need people all over the world. They're speaking highly of you in places that your feet haven't even touched. They're speaking highly of you. They're going before you, like how John came before Jesus. He was already speaking that, right? There are people I know, they're speaking highly of you before you even step into the room, and it's going out into the universe. Just like we talked about these seeds, it's the same thing. Sow enough seeds, sow enough good seeds, and watch it just blossom. And all of a sudden the harvest coming. Everybody like, man, you just blew up. No, been putting in the work. Mama been doing this. You just didn't see it. Everything ain't on my timeline. A lot is on my timeline, but everything ain't on my timeline. Everything ain't on my timeline. You see it when I want you to see it, when it's ready to be revealed. God is doing such a thing, not just in me, these queens, and you as well. I declare that over your life as you hear me. But guess what? At the appointed time, guess what? David had already been appointed. He didn't just get appointed and then he was the king. And now I'm appointed. I'm the king today. Everybody bow down. No, it didn't work like that. Can you be appointed and not be queen yet? Can you be appointed and not be known as the queen or the king at that particular time, right? So he wants to know, can you be faithful in that season and still be consistent? If you're not hearing anything else, what I hear these women say is faith, consistency, being willing to invest in yourself, in your craft, and where you know God is taking you. Stop looking at your reality, you know, especially people in the church. They'll hit you with, oh, faith is the substance. They'll hit you with the whole thing, and then they don't believe a thing. Oh, sister, I don't know about that. I just have to come back to that. You know, so it's crazy. I love it, love it, love it. So look, I know yeah, this is such a good talk. Look, I'm being a little selfish. I'm being honest with you. We should have been stopped, but the conversation has been so good and so organic and so authentic. And you know, I'm just pulling it while we can pull it. I will say this: one of my queens, I did ask them. I said, I'm gonna be in a room with just millionaires. These are girl bosses. They are absolutely on fire. Didn't say who it was with. And a question she brought up, and I loved it. And I just want to ask this. She said, "What did you have to lose? What did you have to lose?" And I loved it, and so many other people liked it too. What did you have to lose to get here? What did you have to lose? We talked a little bit about it, you know, as you rise to the top and people see you on this platform and in the room with these people, but what did you have to lose to get here? What was the sacrifice or some of the biggest? I know there are many, and I know they're not done as God continues to elevate you, but what are some of the pivotal moments you could remember that, yeah, that was a real sacrifice, or that was a perceived L at that time, but that was because God was doing a greater work. So I'll come to you, Dr. Sonja. I see you got yours off.
Yeah, it's a couple of things. If very briefly, I know as I was beginning to do this and figuring out what my power was and becoming the woman I know I was born to be, because I didn't always think it would be like this. And again, just feel like I'm just touching the surface because I can feel it. But I lost a lot of friends along the way. I'll be honest. It is, I think Shonda said it before, it is a lonely place. I saw a video by a gentleman and he talks about the entrepreneurial world. And it's like, you know, most people are taking pictures by coming off the plane or on the plane or in their Lamborghini or in their, you know, at the pool and all of that. But they don't show you in the airport by yourself, unless you're assistant or whoever person's doing the video of you, or they don't show you sitting at the table making this hard decisions, and you're the person who has to make the decision. You want to do the right thing. They don't show that sometimes you're just sitting there like, okay, can I just go back to being normal? And I'll be honest, I've had those moments like, I just want to go back to being normal. And some, you know, when I said it to my sister, she said, what do you mean? I said, I want to go back to it's just me. And then I feel guilty for having that feeling because I know I've been called to serve millions of women. And so the I had to let go of that environment of my friends because we were going in two separate directions, having a conversation now. So that's one. Number two, I had to lose that thought of how I felt about money, that I was supposed to not get paid my worth. I'll just be real with you. I thought it was supposed to be free. That's what they taught me in church. You're supposed to serve. But when I called Sprint and called a mortgage company and I said, I'm serving, and they're like, okay, you either pay or you're going to lose it. And so I had to lose. And that was a big thing because I honestly, I thought when I got to a certain place financially, I was going to shop till I drop. This is transparent moment. I'm going to shop till I drop. I shop less now than I've ever shopped in my entire life. Don't want to go in there, don't want to do this, pick out that item. They're like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? I have bigger and better things to think about than what color my shoe matches my dress and my hair and all that stuff, right? And then the last thing, and this is just for me, I had to lose the thought of that I had to have, do I still want to be married? I was married for 18 years and I went through a horrific divorce, and I really thought I just know I'm supposed to be married. I still want to remarry, but it's a little different. And y'all pray for me on this because it's so different because I know I've been called to something so great that I cannot afford. Now, I'm not talking about just financially, for the wrong man to be in my life, to interrupt what God has me doing. I had to lose the thought that I had to just have somebody. And it's like, no, I got something so powerful for you that I'm going to exclude you from everybody so you can be able to do what you've been called to do. And so to sum all that up, I had to lose the old version of me so the new version of me could show up and do what she has to do.
That's so good. It's necessary.
Yeah.
You can't, you know, again, I'm going back to Shonda with the whole butterfly effect, right? That cocoon, guess what? That scale, or I don't know the technical scientific term, but whatever that is that's surrounding them, that has to remove. Like, you can't turn into a butterfly and still have that thin layer of whatever it is that's holding the butterfly in its cocoon. It has to remove. You know, old things have to go away, and that sometimes requires folks. They're just not ready. They're not ready for the new you. They're not ready. That doesn't make you better than them. People thinking, oh, you're better than me. No, nobody's better than anybody. We all, look, at the end of the day, we can't take none of this stuff with us, but it is about where God is calling you and who he wants you to pack and impact and what he wants you to do. And either you're rolling with that or you're not. Either you're a part of my growth or you're not in that season. So good. And so I'm gonna bounce to you, Dr. Cheryl, and then I'm gonna come back to Shonda as well. So talk to me, Queen. What did you have to lose? Really, what did you have to lose to arrive?
Everything. Like literally everything. I believed to gain everything, I had to lose everything. But I know that was very intentional, because I'm very clear that I could never empathize, not sympathize, two different things, but I could never empathize with the people that I serve if I haven't been where they've been. If I haven't been in their shoes, if I haven't lost it all to gain it all, how could I ever go out into the world and preach that to other women? How could I say, you've got to be willing to put everything in. You've got to be willing to do what's uncomfortable. You got to be willing to literally have more faith than you have fear, if I never had to go through that. So as I tell every client, if you ain't been through nothing, you can't tell me nothing. So for me, I lost everything, as in when I finally got the courage to walk away from my full-time job and that thing that I was addicted to called direct deposit. When I finally got the courage to walk away from the thing I had been taught to rely on my entire life, 6 months later, my husband lost his job. So people see a woman with a husband and they think, oh, she good because he got a job and he good and she got something I don't have, but she got 2 incomes, but I only got 1. Guess what? You never know somebody's backstory. 6 months after I walked away, do you know how much courage it took to walk away? My husband lost his job 6 months later. And all I kept saying was, God, you said this was what I was supposed to be doing. Like, I thought this was supposed to be my divine assignment. I thought this is the path you told me to take. And all he kept saying was, I need you to lose everything for you to gain everything. We lost everything. We lost every car. We lost the house. We lost everything. But the reality of it was, I already knew what was over there. God was like, I'm trying to usher you to something new, but you can't go back to what you already know. So I could have gotten up and gone and gotten the job again. I could have easily gotten a job, but God was like, you know what that's about. You know what that feels like. You've been there, done that. You know what that leads to. I'm trying to usher you to something new, but you got to be willing to have more faith than you have fear. Are you willing to press through? It reminds me of an airplane. An airplane, when you're going up, there's so much turbulence. Sometimes it's so much turbulence. Literally, you grab onto the person next to you. But when you break through the turbulence, smooth flying, you're just like, oh my God, okay, I'm glad I didn't freak out. So for me, I had to lose everything in terms of financially, everything I lost. I had to reframe what I believed about faith over fear. I had to lose the sense of relying on my own understanding and knowing that if God gave me the assignment, he also would give me the provision to fulfill the assignment. And that, yes, it was going to be uncomfortable. Yes, it was going to be unfamiliar. Yes, it was going to be uneasy. Yeah, there were going to be some tough times where we had to do some things we had never done before. And we were going to have to make sacrifices we had never made before. We were going to have to eat some peanut butter and jelly and some hot dogs and some beans. But we ain't eating hot dogs and beans today. Why? Because God says, if you press through, I will give you the blessing. If you stay consistent, if you show up and serve, if you don't give up, daughter, I promise you, I have your name engraved on blessings that nobody can take from you. Every single one of you queens, God has your name engraved on global blessings that can't nobody take from you and can't nobody stop you from getting. But are you willing to lose it all so you can gain it all?
Queen, that she said peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter Jelly. Okay, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm sorry. See, these women are professional. They are astute. I am still on my way, so I can no crazy. But look, you gotta be willing. People don't want to do that. They wanna go from the prison to the palace, baby. They just wanna whoop, 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 whoop. Child, go sit down. Go sit down and stop playing. Reality is you've got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's the only comfortability you gonna get. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable, period, and move out and do what God's called you to do. It reminds me of, and I'm sure all of you can attest to this, the Israelites. They were in Egypt. They were slaves, beaten, and all this other foolishness. Moses come through, get them out the land. They in the wilderness. They start cursing at God. Oh, I should say, you brought us out here so we can die. That's, when I finally made that leap of faith coming into 2020, I was like, Lord, I don't care what come what may. I mean, literally, I was already an entrepreneur, but stepped out and said, I'm putting in my notice. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. And so some folks know, but coming to Atlanta, that was the plan. I transferred with my job, but I tell folks I didn't come here for my job. I knew that I was going to uproot, get a new home, do all these things, and quit. Who does that? Who says, I'm going to go to a new place. We don't got no family here. We're going to come, and this is the plan, and God is going to work it out. It wasn't like $1 million was coming through, or we got some trust fund, not a trust fund, baby, where some money is on its way. Like, I'm trusting you, Lord. This is what you said, and I believe you at your word. Blessings that came to me that I could not have received in my previous homeland, in my previous town, that I couldn't get, popped up out of nowhere. Connections, collaborations, things of that nature just came out of nowhere because I was being obedient. Then when COVID hit, that's when the enemy wants you to be nervous and scared. Oh, girl, you stupid. You left your good paying job, your decent paying job with insurance and all them other little benefits, right? They had you with a little cell phone. At least you had the company cell phone in case your cell phone get cut off. So, all of these things, and you done left now, COVID done hit. Now what you gonna do? I could just hear the enemy saying that. And you know what? I didn't waver. There was like zero fear. I was like, okay, Lord, that's all. Okay. Now, okay, right? But he still worked it out. And as Dr. Sonja said earlier, seeing an impact, double, triple, I had in my mind, I said, okay, Lord, if you give me here, if I can at least make this enough to, as Dr. Cheryl said earlier, to cover, if I can at least replace, then I'm good. God came through and doubled it, working on triple. In Jesus' name, again, all the glory belongs to him during the pandemic. And I'm just like, Lord, I thank you. Like, you are amazing. I know you called me to this. This is how I know. So yes, love it. Okay, Shonda, let us know, Queen, what did you have to lose? Who did you have to lose? But maybe don't call her no names, but okay, because we want no lawsuits, but what did you have to lose?
I'll call it shed then, because it's like no love lost, but I just had to shed some things. So I had to shed ego, and I had to shed fear. And I don't say ego like I'm an arrogant, egotistical person, but the way ego creeps up on you is when you know that you're not in line with God, because you want it this way, or I gotta have it this way, or I think it should be this way, that kind of ego. I had to really shed that, because God, like I said, there would be businesses I was focused on, I thought I just knew was gonna come, and it came from a whole nother way. But that was me, that only came a different way when I had to step back and let go of that ego of pushing something that wasn't the way God wanted it, or it wasn't in the time that God wanted it. And you never know what you'd be protected from. Like I always say, when something doesn't happen to you, you don't know what could have happened if you did push something the wrong way. You don't know if you went left, if that was an accident, because you followed your spirit and went right, and you don't even know what you missed, but you know that you're still here. So I had to let go of fear too. I had to let go of fear just to have more faith, because that fear can cripple you. Some people will just stay stuck in fear. And we all feel that. Like, every time I have to speak in front of anybody, I have a feeling in my stomach, but I stay very prayerful, because that is that, like I said, keeps me humble. And I need that. But if I let that feeling cripple me and stop me, then I would not ever be able to do anything that God wants me to do. So I had to shed that feeling of like, that little insecurity and not feeling like I can do it, or that little nervousness that you have, if this not your moment, or if this your moment, or being okay with stepping out on faith, on something that, put your name out there in the hat for something greater. A lot of times women, if we don't have it 100% together, they say we won't go out there. Like they said in elected officials, women won't run if they don't check all the boxes, where if men check 2, I want it. Man, like I want it. I'm out. They go out there and go for it. But women will cut ourselves out even without trying, and we could be overqualified. It's just our own self that gets in our way. And then honestly, because I was very intentional with having my son as a single mom, I chose to be a single mom because I wanted my child and I wanted him at a certain age. And his dad and I prayed for him, and we weren't married. So I was conscious and I was full grown. So I made a conscious decision too, that if the right person wasn't going to be right in my child's life, I was okay with making a sacrifice in my life to wait later for me to get married than have the wrong person in his life and mess up what me and God was working on with him. And now he's full grown, so hey, I'm free to do whatever, you know. So now it's a different story. But I did, and then when I started this business, because I've had a couple of businesses, when I started this business, he was 10 years old. So, I mean, I had to make a lot of sacrifices just to make sure that I was everywhere in all of his events. I moved back to Oakland to have, when I had him, because my doctor was here. I lived in all other parts of the world, but I moved back here because my family's here. We had a rich history here. So his babysitters were always family and friends. And so he was able to be raised in that rich environment and the legacy that we have in this area. So I made conscious decisions in that, because I thought when I graduated from high school, I was going to UCLA and living in LA and never coming back to Oakland. So this Oakland, being in Oakland and the way I am here wasn't part of my plan. It was totally God's divine plan. So I had to be okay with that, because there were times where I'm like, why am I here? I don't want to be here. You know, I want to be somewhere else. But there's so many things that God wanted me to do here in this moment for a bigger picture than just about me, about the community and about all the other businesses and people that we help and serve. So I had to be okay with sometimes God's time, or all the time God's time and my time is not the same time. I had to really be okay with that, because you know, when you're driven, you think that if you just go for it and you get it, I want to do this, it's just gonna happen. And it doesn't. You know, when I started this company, it was a year before I had a contract. The contracts that I really thought were going to be in place when I started it, and we had agreed, they didn't manifest. It was a year before I actually had a contract with this business. And God had told me to start the business. God had told me to leave and do it, the same thing that Dr. Cheryl is saying. But in that year, he was like, I just want to see, like how he did the Israelites. Like, I just want to see what you're going to do if it doesn't come right away. What you going to say then? Are you going to still believe that that's what I said? Are you going to still believe me? And now, you know, this business I've had for 14 years. And we do, you know, I don't even talk about money, because I don't even, it's always money. It's abundance of money. Our projects are mega projects. Everything we work on are hundreds of millions of dollars and billions. So you know, that goes without question. But it's about so it's about the faith and letting go of fear and being comfortable with knowing that what God said he had planned for you to do is what God said, and knowing that no matter what anything else looks like, no matter what. And that really is not as easy to do as it is to say and preach. So those are the things I had to shed, because I feel like it was no love lost. I didn't need whatever friend and whatever person is no longer around wasn't for this season. So we had our season, and now we're on to something else. And I had to shed that, like the butterfly, like the caterpillar has to shed that cocoon in order to be a butterfly and fly.
Come on, Queen. So now we got a new she shed. This is the new she shed. I know you thought it was that thing in the backyard and you had your she. I told my husband, you got a man cave. I said, where my she shed at? Shoot. You don't say that 3 times fast, Saints. So anyway, see what come out your mouth. Say that 3 times. But I love that you had to shed. So fantastic. So look, we're gonna wrap it up. Y'all, I pray that you have had pen, paper, recording, whatever, and picking up these nuggets, because I'm very a positive person, but I'm also a realist. And the reality check that you're going to have millions of dollars at your arsenal to where you can peel back the lenses, peel back the onion, and hear from these women's mouth in this format. I'm not talking about just when you see them at their next speaker event and all of that, which is fantastic. Please go support and podcasts and shows and all of that, but where you can really kind of get in the weeds, if you will, and hear from that perspective. So I pray that you are taking this information, and it's not like, oh yeah, that was good, and then you move on to the next. Because I assure you, God will bless you if you take what they've said, these wisdom, these golden nuggets, and apply it. Apply one of them. All these tips, apply one of them and see if your life has changed. Come, I want you to slide in my DM. Miss Nakita Davis, you're so awesome. You have these amazing women. Boom. I want to hear the story so that we can share it, right? Because they're awesome. So real quick, gonna do a quick little hot seat. I'm gonna do like 3. I'm going to name one word. And I just want you to bring the first thing that comes to your mind. Now, the women know we've already talked about, you know, how they'll respond, but I want them to be honest. I'm not saying anything crazy, but I just want you to give me the first thing that comes to your mind, right? It can be one word or just a few words, but it's not a whole statement, right? And so you can really come off of mute because it'll just kind of be like a rapid fire. Right, I'm gonna say it and we'll just go. For me, it's clockwise. I see Dr. Sonja, I see Shonda, I see Dr. Cheryl, and we'll go like that. So it'll be boop, 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 boop. Okay, that should be fun. Okay, all right. So first word is success.
Am I first? Yeah.
Yes,
like,
ma'am. You are first. It's okay. See, I messed you up. I'm sorry.
I don't trust myself. I don't trust myself in this because I'll say the first thing that comes to mind. I'm still working on that. Y'all pray for me. Success is just next level. That's the first thing. You want a word? Next level. That's what I'll say.
Perfect.
Mine is sacrifice.
Mine is freedom.
Okay. Faith.
I'm last this time. I went first last time. I'm last. My truth.
Unshakable.
God.
Empowerment.
This was a little bit longer. 100,000 women building freedom, stability in their next level life and business.
It said empowerment, huh? Mandatory.
Non-negotiable.
Funny, I was gonna say that.
See, y'all still words. Yeah. Okay, collaboration. It's just like, why do I keep being first? I'm sorry. By the time we get to Dr. Cheryl, she's like, I got this. I already know the word. I get my word.
Give me the word one more time.
Collaboration.
Needed. Very much needed.
Winning.
Elevation.
See, Dr. Cheryl cheating. Y'all see that? She's over there. I know she over there. Boom, boom, boom. I'm messing. I'm just joking.
I go first.
No. It's all. I'm messing. I'm just messing. Okay, so I'm just one more. Money.
There's
no words. It's a dance.
Wait a minute, Shonda said, "Oh, I don't even think about that." No,
honey, I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Legacy times 10.
Blessing.
Oh, this ain't one word. Breaking generational curses.
Come on.
Curses.
Yes, love that.
Wealth to me. That's wealth to me.
That's wealth to you, but it's a piece of it, right? It's just a piece. It's not the whole thing. People, especially, we keep talking about our Christian folks. So here's the deal. Yes, I'm an ordained minister. I love the Lord. I'm not a lover of religion and all the little nuances that we've created, some type of traditional foo-foo. Like, is that what God said? Is what's lined up with that? Like, we make our own and this is what it is, right? Money is the root of all evil if you're using it with that intent. The intent is, I just want money. That's it. It's what can I do with the money? What can I do with the money? Who can I bless with the money? Dr. Sonja, I think we talked maybe a couple weeks ago, and you said when COVID hit, you want to know who could write the check. Cut the check, baby. Who could write the check for the organization? I could drop $10,000 and send to XYZ or the charity of my choice in a real way instead of just praying for them. Yeah, I can pray for you, but it says word and deed. Word and deed. They like peanut butter jelly time. They go together. You got to have both, and that's so good. So look, Queens, you've been phenomenal. As we're wrapping it up, I definitely want to know more about what you've got going on, because y'all some bosses. 2021, taking it by storm. I know that you are. First of all, I do want to give a shout out to my girl, Dr. Cheryl Wood, because a little birdie told me. Now, I could be wrong, whatever. But you just hit TEDx stage? Yeah!
Yes.
I feel a TEDx boot camp coming down the pike here in 2021. I already know, Queen. Go on and put it out. Go on and put it out. But so talk to us just briefly about that journey, and more importantly, how are you now going to leverage that into your business and as you empower more people, more lives, because you've got so many different speaker, author programs going on.
Oh my God. So finally, talk about divine timing. But I understand. I am 10 years in as a speaker, and it was meant to happen now. Like, I'm very, very clear. That's why I don't, there's a saying I say, that don't compare, compete, or covet your blessings to anybody else's blessings. So I know that it was divinely meant to happen now. I was powerfully in position, powerfully but humbly in position to be able to get that opportunity. And it was one of the biggest learning experiences of my speaker journey. Like, TEDx had me feeling like, well, am I a real speaker? Do I do this for a living and get paid to teach other people? It stretched me in a new way, which was so beautiful, because it means, just like Shonda and Dr. Sonja said, it means I'm just getting started. Like, there's still so much more for me to do. It stretched me because TEDx Talk is not about you being an amazing orator. It's not about what I do most times, which is the experience I create for people. It is about the big idea that you have and your ability to clearly articulate that idea in an 18-minute or less window. And you have to be very, very laser focused on the idea. They don't care how amazing of an orator you are. They don't care how emotional you are, how empowering you are, how anything. All they care about is the idea. Is this an idea that can globally touch people? And that was a challenge for me, but I loved every second of it. So yes, now I have that under my belt. And yes, you will see that training coming down the pike very soon, because that's what we do, right?
I expect that. I expect it.
You know, we got to elevate other people, because there's so many women in my network and beyond who want to do a TEDx talk. And if I can share with them what I went through, the experience and what it was like, and how they can better prepare for it to get there quicker, like we talked about earlier, then I'm all for it. Outside of that, I'm just continuing to make as much impact as I can. Again, giving my yeses to women all around the world. I am still running my VOCALIZE Women Speaker Certification Program, which I just had my first 15 graduates that graduated at my 3-day conference, SpeakerCon, which was just 2 weeks ago. And I feel blessed to be a blessing to other people. I feel blessed to be able to teach other people, share my experiences, share my story, touch as many lives as I can. Most importantly, I would say moving forward, it's just to make sure that every day that I have life and breath in my body, that I do something amazing and passionately explosive with it to touch somebody else's life. It ain't about me. It ain't for me. Everything God gave me and downloaded to me is for somebody else, and I plan on using it.
Come on, Queenie. You are definitely using it. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. So amazing, the lives you get to touch. Isn't it a blessing to wake up and know that you have the gift? You've got what it takes to empower and bless other people. Like, literally, you get to wake up and walk in your divine assignment every day. Now, that don't mean every day rosy and every day is unicorns and rainbows and gumdrops, but to know that you are empowered by our Father to be able to walk into your God-given assignment and help enrich the lives of people, thousands, millions, ultimately, because really, when you think about it, what do they say? 6 degrees of separation? It might be 5 or 4 now, might be 3 degrees, but whatever it is, when you teach or encourage or inspire that person, they're going to go out into the community. And it's like, you know, the way COVID is spreading, guess what? So look at it from a positive aspect of how your ideas and your encouragement and your equipping of other people, how it can spread. So just like, oh my gosh, COVID's all over. Guess what? Your voice spreads just like that. Your encouragement spreads just like that. All of those things can spread just like that. So fantastic, Queen. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna bounce over here to Shonda, Queen. So you can come off the mic or come off the mute as well. So you do a lot. Now, reading through your bio, you work with, like you said, BET. And a little birdie told me, you know, where you were working with Obama. So talk about that just a little bit. Just hashtag my forever president. I don't know about y'all. No, women are watching this all over. This is not a political thing, but my forever and Michelle forever, my first lady. Absolutely. But talk to me about that experience, but more importantly, where the queens can glean from you, what did you have to do to put yourself in position to be in that position?
Oh, interesting. So in that circumstance, I have always been involved in politics from my family. My parents always had, as I tell people, if you want young people to be engaged, get them engaged early, because then they just don't know anything else. So I never knew anything else. So early on, I started supporting candidates. When I got into business, I started supporting candidates, like giving events, you know, fundraising for ones that I thought were in it for the true purpose of being a public servant. And I figured if they were out there to be the public servant, then people in the business community should support them, the ones that have the public service that you want to support. Our responsibility, our civic responsibility, is then to support those who have sacrificed their lives for the betterment of the community. So in that, it came about that I was engaged with helping people and helping candidates, and that I told some people that if then Barack Obama needed any help, I would be willing to do whatever to help. And so when I got a call that said that they were having something for Michelle Obama.
Queen, you still there?
I was like, if this woman, Michelle Obama, she was then Michelle Obama at the time. I was like, if this man can be married to this woman as bad as she is, that's a bad brother. So we ride with him all the way. I don't know what he's all about, but this woman's this bad. That brother's married to her. Oh, no. He's a bad brother. So that was the first year. And then the next time I said, you know, I thought it was going to be easy the second term, because I'm like, he's in there, it'll be easy. You know, but everything that happened that year was so, you know, he had changed the economy, all this work. Oh, no problem. But I said, but if anything comes up, I'm definitely all in. And so they're like, we need you. So there was an event that we sponsored with, hosted with Michelle Obama when she was the first lady, and the first time she came to Oakland. And so they're like, you have to be a part. And so from there, I was all in 10 times with them there. And then when I was appointed to the platform committee, it's the committee, one of the committees that, well, it's the committee that is compiled of appointees that help the president come up with the platform for the party, for the nation. That will be what will be the platform that he will support. And so when I was on that committee, one of the historians told us that the very first platform committee, what their platform was on was slavery in America. So that blew my mind. I'm like, I'm here appointed by the first African American. I'm a daughter. And now we're on this platform committee making decisions for our country that the first one that they had was based on us being slaves in America. That was the platform. I was like, that's when it all was like, wow, this is deep. You know, like, you really don't, like, us, President Obama getting elected and getting the room, it really opened doors for us to see how much we weren't in the room. Like, we don't even really know. We didn't know how, we didn't know how to act. We didn't even know what's going on in the room. The room where it happens in Hamilton is really like, things happen in these rooms, and we've never been in this room until President Obama kicked the door open, and he's in the room, and so many of the rest of us have been in this room that we didn't even know existed. So now we can, talking about legacy and wealth and generational, like, now all of us who've been in that room can pass that down to your children and your grandchildren. So now they can be raised to be prepared to be in that room. Part of us being involved with voting is that we didn't know how much we were not in the process of the decision making, how much power and control we have, until now we know. Like they let us see what was behind the veil. So now we know what goes on behind the veil. It's like the Wizard of Oz, when they pulled the veil and they saw, oh, that's what's going on back here all this time. We thought, so now we know what to do and what to share and what to do for the next generations. So all that to say is that there's so much history in this country that you don't even really know that you're playing. Like, we're literally living history now. We're going to be reading about what's happening now 20, 30 years from now as historic moments that we literally are living. And I always speak and tell people, like, we need to embrace every second of these moments, because we are literally living history that we have never seen before. You know, the books that we grew up in elementary school that we read about the history, people are going to be reading about us in these moments, you know, so that's in the moments that we're in. So, before my brother would be remiss if I didn't mention our podcast, What Sibling Rivalry, that is in 20 countries and that we're using as a platform to share our story about our family, our upbringing, and then because we also have a production company. So we write original content about our family and our history. So the podcast is a way for us to share, like how were we raised, how were we brought up, and then also have we have actually celebrity siblings come on the show and share their moments. So like, you know, so it's really and for me, it's my more fun side, because I'm always like the serious one. And he's a actor comedian, he's the funny one. But we just have a good time on the show, and it's What Sibling Rivalry. It's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Spotify. We have a website, it's on IG, and it's on and we've done like over 30 podcasts so far. And people call us all the time and say, we love it, we like it, it reminds us of our family, or that was funny when you say, because we're kind of talking about, you know, what it was like growing up in a time when we grew up and how that's relevant now and how that pertains to how we're raising our children. So that's one of the things I'll share that I'm working on outside of my business and what I'm doing there.
Yeah, because we already established, I mean, you make so much money in the bank. I mean, you just show up, boom. She just made $1 million while we just said that. While she was talking about silk, honey, I don't know. Did you know this? You thought this was a jacket? This is made of money. This jacket is. You didn't see that? I mean, she did. I said, I want to be like that. Jesus, help me, Lord. I want to be like that. So
what's money to God? It's nothing. It's just a vehicle.
It really is. God be like, that's all you want. That's all you want. The riches and the earth and everything. That's all you want. Here, now what? Sometimes God will give you what you want just to see what you'll do. Sometimes God will give it to you just to show you that you weren't ready for it. He'll do that too. Sometimes you'll get the blessing. It's just to show you weren't prepared. He'll give it to you and it'll slip from your fingers because you weren't moving in the spirit that he wanted. But that's so good, Queen. I'm just messing with you, Shonda. I know you more. You know, I think you got a funny bone in your system. I can see that. Just a little kiki. So, okay. Don't you be laughing at me, Dr. Zaya. So, Queen, you can come on off the mic. So you're just fabulous. You know, you're Arkansas, but now Georgia Peach in the building. And so let's talk about, come on. Now, look, we still supposed to be going to lunch. If I can catch her down, you know, I'm just go ahead and call you out to the world. She was supposed to go to lunch, so I'm going to be calling. But anywho, so Bravo, right? Let's talk a little bit about that. That's huge. And I remember, I think I got to see, yes, come on. That's major moves. We talked about seats at the table. That's huge to have us represented and for you to have your own show on Bravo. Talk to me about how you got yourself in position to have your own show. And then let's talk about the reverberating effects, you know, or how you're able to leverage that in your business now as you gain more clients. So I know that's kind of like a two-part piece. Like, how did you feel? How did that take place? And then how are you now leveraging that to level up?
You good at this, aren't you? Ooh, I like
just,
it.
you know
you
what?
gotta do your thing on this. Sure.
Corporate used to pay me for asking questions, honey. I just come in and ask questions.
You know, it is literally like, be careful what you ask God for, because you may get it. I can remember just being, and how I built my business. There was no like Facebook ads, that wasn't in my budget. I'll say that. It wasn't in the budget. Matter of fact, no one talked to me about ads. I didn't know how that worked. So I went on social media every single day for 6 months, like it was my job, 3 times a day. And so this was retiring from the military, going through this long stint after divorce, going through this depression period, because what they don't do for the military, honestly, is kind of help us with the transition, especially for women. So I went through the retirement stage, started working in corporate America for 9 long months. I don't know how y'all did it past that. I just couldn't. 9 months, I did it. And they did a layoff. They had me as the HR director lay off, majority of the company because they were downsizing and merging and all of that. And then I didn't know that they would come around to the HR department and then outsource it. I didn't understand that because I'd been in the military for 21 years. And when they did the layoff, it was my chance, because I don't think I would have quit the job even though I didn't like it, because they were paying. I mean, who was it? I was addicted to the deposit, Dr. Cheryl said. It was just, okay, I'm getting 2 checks, 3 checks here, and all these things were going on. And I just remember when they did the layoff, I cried sitting at the table. And the CFO and the CEO thought I was crying because they did the layoff. I was crying because God had already told me what was going to happen. He said, okay, if you don't move, I'm going to do this for you. Because, you know, you asked, it's like, okay, if it's supposed to happen, you put it in position. Okay, no problem. It happened. I'm like, okay, I'm crying because I'm not going back to another job. And I just remember walking away that Friday with my box in hand. I always saw it on the movies, but I never actually, you know, did it myself. I thought it was a story. Like, I'm walking out crying. I called my pastor. I said, I need to get in this sanctuary. She's like, you need, I said, no, I just need to be alone on the floor. That's all I wanted to do. I said, I just need 30 minutes. She said, okay, someone's there. I'll be there. I said, I don't need anybody. I just need to be before God this day. I remember prostrate on the floor, just laid out. I was like, I don't know what you're doing, but I have been through hell and back. Can you just help me? Whatever it is I'm supposed to do, just use me however you see fit, because obviously you have something more. Because I thought if I went back to school, got a PhD, I was going to make all this money. Okay, I'm just telling my truth. I just thought I would. As a counselor, I can help the world. And it didn't work out like I thought. And so when they did the layoff, because I remember them saying, do I have to call you Dr. Stribling now? I'm like, they're watching me on social media because I'm doing it part-time. I'm like cheating on the investor, Cheryl. I'm cheating. And I'm like, okay. And so when I walked away from that, I went full-time. There was no additional money made. I was just on social media telling my truth. And I remember one day saying live, to get to my story, I said, I'm going to be on television. And I was like, did I just say that out loud? They're not supposed to hear me. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't take it back because it's live. I can't delete this. This is live. They're like, oh my gosh, yes, you should have your own show. And thousands of people would join. And within a couple of months, I think it was, I got a phone call. And when I got a PR company and all of that, I got a phone call like, how did you get my number? I'm thinking I'm being punked. And the conversation was, we're looking for our next Oprah Winfrey. And I'm like, Oprah Winfrey? I can't be Oprah, but I can be the first Dr. Sonja. That's what I said. I love Oprah. Oh my goodness. And I said, one day I'll sit at the table. It was her. It was her at first, and then I'm going to add Michelle, and then we're going to do our MVP that is going on, right? We're going to have all three of them and some other women sitting at the table. I just want to listen. I don't have to say anything. I just want them to tell me what's next. Not what do I do, but just listen. And so I remember saying that, and I said yes. And the next thing I know, I do a season of the Dr. Sonja experience. Loved it. I learned a lot about television. I learned what I don't like. I learned what I do love. But it was just this little country girl. And I said, I wanted to be on television. I didn't think I was going to go to the mothership first. And I'm truly grateful for that experience. From there, I went from the Word Network to NBC to Fox, and to even having conversations now of I want to put it out there, but not bigger, but another network where I get to share, a lot of women watch it a lot. Anyway, I'll just say that. But just having that opportunity, and I'm grateful. And I felt, and I'll say this, I felt very humbled about it. But someone said, like, man, you have so much confidence. I said, I don't have an option. Because I was in that place where I was a dead woman walking. I don't have an option, because if I don't have this level of confidence, I know I'm going to quit and die. So it's not like my head is so big. It's just I know God's vision for me and what he has for me to do, and to reach. Our goal is to reach 2,000 women in 2021. Now, for some, that's a small number. I don't mean 2,000 women watching me. I mean 2,000 women that I am helping walk through the process of entrepreneurship, of being a kitchen table CEO. Because COVID, I'm just sorry, it's going to be here for a minute. I'm not wishing that upon anybody. But what are we doing as women to really create our own legacy from our kitchen table? What are we doing as creating things where we don't have to go outside the home, where we can retire our spouses, where we can bring our kids and show them what entrepreneurship looks like, but not just being an entrepreneur, but being a business owner. And so I love the fact that I get to do this. And I used to ask, why me? And now I say, why not me? Somebody has to come and tell their truth about how do you lose everything: bankruptcy, divorce, lose your mind, go to combat, all these things. And they look like, you don't look like what you've been through. Of course I don't. I'm glad I don't, because if I did, half of my face would be scarred. And so I just share with all the queens that are here that just never give up on what it is that you want, no matter how challenging it gets. But television is great, but I know there's something bigger. And that's so just, I see it, I taste it, I just got to catch up with it.
So good. Love it, Queen. Yes, yes, yes. And sometimes we just have to get in, to Shonda's point, just get in the room. It may not be the final room that God wants you to rest. He just needs you to kick down the door because you got in the room not for you. I mean, we talk about this. You got in the room not for you, but for the next queen, who that is where she's supposed to be, right? You opened up the door so she can walk in her genius zone, so she can walk in that place, and God's got something else for you. So that's so good. Y'all, look, y'all have been absolutely amazing. You can fuss and fuss me out on a DM, okay, for the time. See, I just help me with the time, Lord, every time I have something, because I'm just like, Lord, your way, I know, but I am, when I say honored, I mean just at the core of me, first of all, that you are, I don't think people understand. They think like, oh, well, just when they go and speak. What? There's a lot of preparation in everything that they do. These women are multimillionaires. They're bosses. They're moving and shaking. They got families. They got kids or spouses or not. What? It don't even matter. The point is they are busy, and it's okay. And you took the time to come and speak to little old me. And I'm just forever grateful. I'm one of those people. I don't ask for a lot, but when I do, and when people come through, I never forget. I never forget. At my heart, I can probably count on my hand the number of times not that I'm prideful and I don't ask for help, but from a place where I'm like, really, will you help me? Because it's just that mentality, go back, to, oh, if I want it done right, I better do it myself, or I better get it done, or how we grew up, you better make it happen, strong Black woman, all that other stuff that we've got to slowly begin to let go so that we can elevate. But I'm just so grateful that you're here. And so what I want to do as we close, just give us your final statement. This is Girl on Fire. Just your final statement to that woman who's watching this. Maybe they heard everything that you said, but in the back of their mind, they still feel like that's them and that's not me. They're soaring, they're walking in their God-given assignment, but what about me, Lord? What would you say as we wrap this up in a final kind of, really not a plea, but a plea to them to level up in this season and be everything that God has called them to be? What would you say? And then close it out by letting us know, how can they connect with you? Whatever it is, if it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever, they're going to get this information as well, but I believe in saying it, speaking it, and then we'll have it for them to get it as well. How can they connect with you? Where can they go to get into whatever program that you've got going on that's going to help them level up in this season? So just spill the beans, encourage them, spill the beans, let them know how they can connect with you as we go into 2021. So I'll go back to you, Dr. Sonja. We'll finish it up with Dr. Cheryl.
I would say to all the women and the queens and all of you that are watching right now, just don't give up on your dream. And I would say dream the impossible, or the unbelievable is more like it, because you have no idea what God is going to do for you. He just needs you to, it starts with a thought. He just needs you to think about it, but then take action on it. And you will look up, and this is one last thing. Dream so big it scares you, but dream so big it's going to take you, God, and everybody else to help it come to pass, because I don't think we're smart enough to think about these things on our own. I believe it's planning in us long before it happens. And just know we're here. I would say reach out, but start watching and following. You have to start watching those women, not that you want to be like, but that's doing something that you desire to do. That would be the biggest thing. And you can always follow me on social media. Prayerfully, soon you'll see me on another big screen with some powerful people, not just because that's something, oh, I got to do it because I can be a celebrity. There's $1 billion that I want to be able to generate, not for me. Yeah, I want to be my family's first billionaire, not so I can go buy this and buy that, but there's some charities that I want to contribute to. There's a center for divorced women that I want to build for them to transition between divorce, and if they decided to stay home with their kids and then their husbands are gone and they're trying to figure that out. That's been, oh my God, I'm getting emotional. It's been a lifelong thing, because I know I could have been somewhere on somebody's street if I didn't have that career. So will be that. And you can follow me on all social media platforms at I am Dr. Sonja. I am Dr. Sonja on all social media platforms. And then of course, I just want to give them a free gift. It's called the 21 Highly Effective Habits of Women in Life and in Business. It would be at drsonjafreegift.com, drsonjafreegift.com, and we'll go from there. I'll be honest, I'm very selective about who I work with, because I want women who are ready to win, and win now, and win big. And for many of you, I'll see you at the top.
Yes, Queen. Come on. I love that. Yes, God bless you, Queen. It is an honor. It's a privilege to have you here. I just want to be a fly on the wall. Now I'm gonna fly with you, but I still want to be a fly on the wall. It's just to watch. I genuinely love to see my queens glow up and blow up, especially when I know Christ is at the foundation, because we need to see us doing good things, not just, I understand people are secular and different things, but they'll follow that as opposed to saying, Dr. Sonja, she's a woman of faith, she loves the Lord, and look how he's blessing her. She's been through some things, granted, but God is still blessing her. And again, if he has done it for her, he's faithful to do it for me. That's it. That's what I want my life story to say. Whatever I do, whether it's books or shoestring selling, that they say, you know what? She all right with me. If God did it for her, he'll do it for me. If they walk away with that, then I've done what I needed to do here on this earth and made an impact. So I'm coming to you, Shonda. Queen, any final thoughts you want to pour into these women as they're ready to embark on 2021? They want to be a girl on fire. So tell them what they need to do and how you want to encourage them. And then please let them know how they can follow you, because I know they want to do that too.
Well, I feel like I was being poured into. Sitting here, I was like taking it all in, like yes, 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 and just the success in this, the confidence, and just the love that's on this virtual moment. It really did fill my heart. I mean, there were moments I'm just like, I just want to sit and listen. I would say, if you are a girl on fire, you are a girl on fire. You have to believe that you are who you want to be. Like, you have to believe it without a shadow of a doubt. Like, even if you don't feel it, you have to believe it. You have to go to bed, sleep in it. You have to write it in your journal. You got to say, I am a girl on fire, and write why you are a girl on fire. And just like Dr. Sonja shared, you have to be okay with telling what you were going to do and how it's going to manifest without any doubt, without any fears, knowing it's going to happen. I mean, I have to practice that all the time, because I'm one that works in the back and get it all done, and then it comes to the light in this moment. But there are times where you have to be okay with just sharing out what it is, and knowing it is speaking it into an existence. You're just speaking it into existence, and God will meet you there, and he's already, he's there waiting for you to catch up. So I feel that, dream, they always say dream. I can't exist without dreaming. I was a daydreamer as a child. I mean, I always like dreaming. I like the fantasy. That's what I like about writing and creating content, is that I like the fantasy part of the dream. I like, the Wiz and the Wizard of Oz. I like the magical element of just like the possibilities. But I'm such a Christian and woman of faith that I know that I don't know how to exist without God in my life. And I don't want to ever even think that that's a possibility, because that's what sustains me. I mean, there are times when you really feel like, how are we going to go on? Or how are we going to move from this moment? Or how am I going to do this big thing that you put me here to do? How is this going to really happen? And am I going to shrink and fail? No, I'm going to believe that God had me in this moment. And I believe that for each and every one of you. Every moment that God has for you and presents you with an opportunity in this platform or any platform, you use it for his highest good, and he will bless you every time. You see examples of these women's lives. They are telling you true stories of how that's happened in their lives, and I promise you it is the truth. But you have to believe, and you have to believe that you're a girl on fire, and you have to do the work. You have to do the work. I'm just sorry, there's no way around. Ask my mom. She looks half her age. She's still doing all these great things. I'm like, Mommy, please don't tell me that hard work's the answer. She's like, hard work's the answer. I said, okay, then let me get over it. Hard work is the answer. Her mom is 102 years old and still living in Houston. It's like these kind of things. And my grandmother would say, I asked her on her 102nd birthday, like, what? And all she says is like, I pray out to God every day. And before COVID, I didn't even imagine not being able to go to church. And she's 102. And she's just saying that. So I'm just saying that kind of level of faith in any life, God uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things. And that's where you see the most amazing part of God. So you say who you want to be, and you tell the world who you are, and you write it down until you believe it, and write down what God does for you. Oprah shared a grateful journal, and I'm a journaler anyway. I keep a grateful journal now. Every time I get rid of one, I get another one to just talk about gratitude on what's going on in my life, even if I just wake up and the sky is sunny and it's shining and I'm happy and things are going on, you know, write that, but then write something great that happens, like serving for a president or helping the Black president get elected to make history, you know, or just making a big business move or getting your biggest contract that you ever could see, or being able to provide for your family, or being able to take care of things that you never thought you'd be able to take care of, having a show on TV, bravo, bravo, you know, things that you never thought could happen or things you thought could happen and it happened and God blows your mind, you know what I mean? So never, you know, you have to live this life on hope and faith, and that's what gets you through the tough times, and that's what keeps you happy and inspired. At least that's for me, and I'm always looking for my happy place. Like whatever I can't be in this moment, what I need to do to get happy. And so I say that to you, Girls on Fire. You are a girl on fire, and believe that, write it, speak it into existence, and be on fire.
Come on, Queen. Yes, 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 yes. And you know, it's so crazy when you said with the journal and the attitude. My very first book, I mean, hence the name of my company, Jesus Coffee and Prayer, was a attitude of gratitude series, and that's exactly what it was. It's called Jesus Coffee and Prayer. And I remember at the time, before I was really publishing it, I was working with someone else. It was named totally different, and like after the 14th revision, I was like, "Ooh, don't be mad. We're going to change the name," you know, and so I changed it to Jesus Coffee and Prayer, but it's an attitude of gratitude, because gratitude is an action. Gratitude is a verb, and you've got to do that. And so there's a journal piece. Just take that time and say, what should I be grateful for? Like something good has happened. What I have found in this earth is that if I look for the positive, if I look for God to bless me, again, not going back to Jesus is a genie, we rubbing on the bottle. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about deeper than that. I'm I'm his child. Why wouldn't he want to bless me? So when those things come to me, it blows my mind, but it also is, I'm his child. I know he wants to do for me, right? If even, you know, the word talks about even, oh Lord, help me, Jesus, but even those who are not, or are bad people, quote unquote, want good things for their children. So what do you think the Father wants for you, right? So begin to seek that. You're seeking him, but in that, I expect good things. I expect blessings. I expect collaborations and amazing women to want to link arms with me and to see value in me. Not that I need their validation, because I already have his, but you're going to do this. You're going to, and I don't care if it's a parking spot. I'd be like, see, Jesus put that parking spot there for me right up front. See, won't he do it? And see, people pass that up, but I'm like, nope. But guess what? Even in the little things, and guess what? He blesses me with more, because I'm happy thanking him just for the parking spot. And so some people won't even thank him for the parking spot, but then you think he want to drop $1 million on you. It don't work like that. You're not faithful over a few things. You're not happy with that. Some people will never be happy because they're not faithful over a few things. They're not happy with the little things. So they'll never have true joy. Even if God gave them everything on their checklist, they would still not be happy, because joy is on the inside. It's not something the world can give you, and the world can't take it away, baby. That's that. Oh, if you want to know a Negro spiritual, come on. You heard that, but we just brought out all the colloquialisms that we used to say. But love that, Queen. Please tell the people where they can follow you, Queen.
That's
yes.
what I forgot to say.
Oh, I didn't forget.
You're good. You're good. Thank you. I'm at Shonda Scott 360 on IG and Twitter, and Shonda Scott on Facebook. It's SHONDA. Shonda rhymes and Shonda Scott spell the name the same way. So it's Shonda Scott 360 on all the platforms. And What Sibling Rivalry Podcast. And that's on IG, that's on Apple, and on Spotify. So What Sibling Rivalry Podcast.
And if you happen to forget, just remember the lady that just has unlimited money. The woman that said she just got unlimited money, slide in her DM. No, I'm just kidding. No, you'll be blocked. No, you'll be
unlimited money.
Yeah, but that's not. But Queen, that's not what I heard. But I understand that. What I heard was, I'm messing with you, Queen. Perfect. Thank you, sis. So honored that you would come, and we were able to get you
in the DMs, and you know, like,
I'm messing with you. Y'all know, if y'all know, you gotta be a little thrown off, just a little piece for this life. You can't want this life and want to be square. You gotta be just a little thrown off, just a little bit. Okay, right? But thank you so much for being here. I'm honored. I'm so glad to have you at this table. You guys have been phenomenal. And last but not ever least, peace. Dr. Cheryl Wood, come on in the room, Queen, and let them know that woman, what can she do? What do you want to impart in her? This is some of the last things that she hear. How can you encourage her in this moment as she takes on 2021 by storm?
So last year, May of last year, I had the opportunity to travel to Paris, France, and I hosted my very first international women's conference. It was because God said, take this brand global, girl. I was scared, nervous. But while I was there, I went to this museum called the Louvre Museum. And my daughter can say it better than me because she speaks fluent French. She went to a French immersion school from kindergarten through 8th, so she speaks, reads, and writes French. That's why we chose Paris. So we go to this museum, the Louvre Museum, and there's hundreds of thousands of paintings. Some of them are the size of this wall and larger in the Louvre Museum. But there's also a painting that is about the size of this certificate, this degree here. It's called the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa in this massive museum with hundreds of thousands of massive paintings has its own room. Not only does it have its own room, but it also has a security guard to protect it, to watch over it. And it has these red velvet ropes draped around this little itty bitty painting. People come from all across the world to see the Mona Lisa. People stand in line and they're on their tippy toes, getting a camera and just trying to get a little snapshot of the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa is worth millions and millions of dollars. In fact, it is priceless. You, my queen, are the Mona Lisa. You are priceless. You are divinely and uniquely created. There is no other like you. It cannot be imitated or duplicated. Doesn't matter how many other amazing paintings there are in the world, you are the one. You are the Mona Lisa. The one that people will come from all across the world just to get a glimpse, just to hear your story, just to hear you speak, just to touch the hem of your skirt. You are the Mona Lisa. You're divinely created as a masterpiece. The moment you start believing that you are a masterpiece is the moment that God will work in you and through you and allow you to impact lives globally. He will allow you to go from fishing in the local pond to fishing in the global ocean, to transforming lives, to transforming your life, the trajectory of where you're going, who you're becoming. And as my sister Shonda said, he will blow your mind. I am not just the person telling the story. I am the story. I am the testimony of where he will take you from and where he will place you. If you just keep believing that there's something inside of you that God said is enough. You are enough. You are worthy. You are capable just as you are without validation or permission from anyone else. You are already stamped as pre-approved from a higher source. Stop looking outside of yourself and look inside and just know, as Maya Angelou says, that you have the right to pursue the thing you love to do and to do it so well that people can't take their eyes off of you. I'm Dr. Cheryl Wood. You can connect with me all across social media at Cheryl Empowers. Get out into the world and be amazing, be brilliant, shine brightly, don't dim your light, and be a girl on fire. Thank you for having me.
Come on, Queen. Yes, honey, I'm getting tickets right now. I'm going to the Louvre. Come on, let's go to the Louvre. Come on. No, my husband and I, we went about 5 years ago, and it was so crazy, like you said, with all the ropes and everything. And I remember there were some other people who were shorter than me, honey, and they thought they were going to skip me because I was trying to get close to that would be me. My husband said, I would bring you to Paris, and we right here by the Mona Lisa. You over here about to get in the fight because the people trying to skip you to take the picture. I said, she just skipped me. Now, this was 5 years ago, so I have evolved. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Won't he do it? So I said, now, if did she know she jumped in front of me? Anyway, but I got the picture, and you're right, with the Mona Lisa. Queen, let me tell you something. Tonight has been absolutely epic. This was everything that I envisioned when we said we were going to have this girl on fire. Absolutely every story, every testament, every testimony, just a piece of you. These women have given you a piece, just a little piece. Now, if you want a bigger piece, you got to pay them. Okay, they told you how you can reach out, all right? But they gave you a piece of them tonight in the hopes that you too can be and will be a girl on fire. With Christ as your foundation, you can absolutely do anything you put your mind to. There are no barriers. There are no limits. Nobody can stop you but you. And the question becomes, are you willing to invest, not just financially? Yes, that's a piece, but are you willing to invest the time, the effort, the energy, the sacrifice that goes along with this journey? Each one of these queens told you what they had to lose on their way to gain, what they had to give up on their way to walking into abundance in their land of milk and honey. Are you willing? Are you willing? Or are you satisfied with the mundane? Are you satisfied with mediocrity? Are you satisfied with complacency? Are you satisfied with the shoulda, coulda, woulda, or what I could have been or what I could have achieved? I believe that you're not. You're not satisfied with that. I believe that you desire more, not just in a tangible piece, but you desire to be and do everything that God has put on the inside of you. And when you do that and you lock arms and link arms with the right people, wisdom and discernment, pray for it. Before you pray for the money, pray for the wisdom and discernment so that when it comes, you'll know what to do with it. You'll know how to leverage it. You'll know how to get the right people to assist you and you assist them in this season. So we love you. God bless you. And we thank you so much for tuning into this episode, show, this movement, whatever you want to call it, to Girl on Fire. Because guess what? These girls are on fire. Yes. God bless you. Reach out, connect, and we can't wait to see you fly high. Bye.
Surprise. Hi, Sheila E. here. How are you all doing? Okay, listen, I just want to say thank you. We're truly grateful to Dr. Cheryl, Dr. Sonja, Shonda, and Nikki. Minister Nakita Davis wants to say thank you so very, very, very much because you girls are on fire. So let's thank you so much. Let's see. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies, for everything you do. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies, so very much. A special, special, special thank you. God bless you. God bless you for all that you do. Sisterhood, all in the club, right? God bless. Bye.
Let me tell you this, see, I rock my own money. Keep talking, can't tell me nothing, no.
I went from making $75,000 a year to $75,000 a month. You talk about a girl from the hood, a girl who ain't know nothing about having money in the bank. Literally. How's that happen? It's a God thing. It's a God divine timing thing. It's a divine orchestration with women like this who see greatness in you and are willing to open the doors.
Especially women of faith. And I'm going to say this may hurt just a little bit. We think we can just stay in that little cubicle, that little corner. Oh, I know God, I can pray, I can do all this. We just do that. And we say things, I'm waiting on God. He's sitting back like, girl, can y'all tell them I'm waiting on them? They're not waiting on me. You're not waiting on me. It's already done.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl Coco from SWV, and you're watching Girl on Fire, hosted by Jesus, Coffee, and Prayer. Now, my definition of a girl on fire is myself. I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, a sister, a friend, entrepreneur. I'm fabulous, but most of all, I'm a king's kid. Much love and God bless.
Goes on my mind, goes on my mind. I work hard, I stay on my grind. Goes on my mind, goes on my mind. I work hard, I stay on my grind. Where my ladies at, where my independent women? Show me where you at.
God has graced you to create. He just gave that to me just now. I didn't have that before. He has graced you to create. right? So if the first thing our Heavenly Father did was create, so the question is, what has He called you to create?